this day, 30 years ago, two men were born. Over the age, they would not meet until many years later, but when they did, a fellowship would be forged in the fires of nerddom. Two more would join their cause to go around and talk about nerdy things and spread joy and love and all things awesome with the thing they know as the Fake Nerd Podcast. This is their story, 30 years in the making. Episode 217. Ben Magnet and Brandon T. McClure are officially the age of 30. They are halfway to 60. Sparks,
Ben, how old are you again?
Ryan is going to be there whenever, and Ben is in a brand spanking new house that he moved into today, and he is god-awfully tired.
That was an intro.
So you guys are 30, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Hold
if
on.
I 6 times.
Hang on a second. I am not 30. I am 26.
Bullshit.
Man, you sound that's something my mom pulled when I was young.
Oh, are you pretending that you started Fake Nerd Podcast and then just stopped aging?
Yeah.
That's how it works. Because fandom lives eternal, right, guys? That's how it works.
Yeah, definitely. As Ben said many times, yes, we have celebrated our 30th birthday this weekend. Mine on Saturday, yours on Sunday.
Well,
Which is
yeah, and as we are currently recording this, it is my birthday today. It was Brandon's yesterday, but yeah, Saturday, Sunday. We are one day apart, and Sparks, his birthday is coming up.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And
Ryan's is in January. No,
yeah. Nope, you're right, January.
January? Okay.
Trust your gut.
Huh. So, hey guys, Brandon, happy birthday.
Ben, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sparks, thanks for being here, bud.
Hey, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Real quickly, guys, before we get started with our weeks, we wanted to sit down and have a wee chat with you all today. No, I don't know what bit I'm doing.
Pick it up. That's a good bit.
We did something this week that we're really excited to share with you guys. Coming up this coming week, we sat down with none other than our good friend Mike Mottola. You know, guys, if you're a longtime listener to this podcast, you know we love Mike Mottola. You love Mike Mottola. Merry Birthmas, says Mag.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mag.
yeah. Hi, Matt.
We do these things called Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge with Mike. He's a great friend. And
he made this awesome logo that you see right here in the corner of my screen.
And we did a new one, a fifth. Can you believe it? Fifth Mike Mottola's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge for The Little Mermaid.
Really? Just 5? Feels like it's been more.
I feel
He's been on more times, but this is the fifth one.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is the 5th movie trivia challenge that we've done. Okay.
Yeah, we've had him on as just like a guest and talk about X-Men.
Indiana Jones, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep, that was
Teenage
Little
Mutant Ninja.
Mermaid.
Oh, so is it 6?
6.
This is yeah.
I'll be real with you guys. I don't want to count the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, why? Was that oh, that's right.
You remember.
It's half a show.
Yeah. So it
5.5 shows with Mike Mottola.
Oh, yeah.
5.5. Yeah.
But yes, we did it for The Little Mermaid. He is going to debut his new Little Mermaid print this coming Tuesday. That same day, we are going to drop that episode for his trivia challenge. It was a lot of fun. He changed the rules on us. We had a great time. So stay tuned for that. We'll let you know when that one goes up. It's a lot of fun.
Horatio, Telonius, Felonius, Ignatius, Sebastian.
You did one too many Telonius Felonius. You should just stuck with
Horatio.
Telonius, Ignatius,
Wait.
Crustaceus, Sebastian.
Oh, no.
Oh wait, what was it? Because I thought it was Horatio.
Felonius, Ignatius, Crustaceus,
See,
Sebastian.
I
It's
did one
Ignatius.
more.
Okay, I thought it was Symphonius. I would have gotten that wrong.
See, I'm glad it was.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
it's
you
not.
would think.
Still got out of the dungeon. Damn you, Diane.
Damn you, Diane.
We would have had
Damn
a
you,
perfect
Diane.
run if it wasn't for you, Diane.
We learned a lot about this movie, like who the evil witch's human name is. None of us knew.
No, it's Vanessa.
It's like, did we even? Hey, you're giving all the way the spoilers, Ryan.
Sparks knew. I'm sorry. We did make it out of the dungeon. Sparks knew. Yes, a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that one, guys. You are in for a treat.
Mm-hmm.
I like the final note on that is I like the evolution of how it started as one thing with multiple choice, and then we got we actually got to pay attention to the movie now, and then oh, we're on a team, so we actually have a chance of winning. Like, I like to see what we'll do next.
And then one person carried the entire team, and now we can't fall back on that person all the time anymore.
What was really great about doing it this time was that, like Ryan said, he changed the rules on us, and we were on a team. But he controlled the stream. So you know how I control this right now.
Mm-hmm.
He built all these images, all these graphics, picked the clips, threw it all into the stream, and just like dictated it like a beautiful director. Created an intro for it. It was awesome. He was great.
A real game show.
No, as much as I miss being with him in the same room or doing like the con we did last year was awesome. Yeah. That was one of the coolest things I've seen, or one of the coolest things we've done in a long time. Like the fact that he could like throw the graphics up, put the questions up, throw the clips right in the middle of it. It's like, this is some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Look how far we've come in technology.
That's amazing.
All right, so who wants to go first with their week?
I'll go, because I didn't do a lot. I did 2 things, and then I read how many X-Men comics came out this week? 3. So I read 4 comics this week. I buy 10 to 15 comics every week, and I'm slowly not reading them more and more, and it's making me real sad. So I got a big old pile, but I always read my X-Men because I gotta do it. So first I'll say 3 X-Men books came out. Did anyone read them this week? I know you're behind. Ben, I think you're behind. Brandon,
I'm way behind.
I was out of town this week. I did not get a chance to read
That's right. Okay. So this, I think, is the turning point for a lot of people on whether all the buildup was worth it, because I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but there was a lot of buildup to using swords, and then there's not really any sword action. That's pissing a lot of people off. So I think it's cool. It's it flips everything on its head. I'll say, like, you think the event's going to be one thing, and kind of just changes, and that makes a lot of people mad, and I see why, because we had this thing was supposed to be like 12 issues long, and they doubled it, right, because of the pandemic, because they had more time. Maybe they didn't need to. Maybe. I still think it's good, but I'm just enjoying the ride. I bet reading it all together at once might be a little much, but we'll see when it's finished. The art is still insane, you guys. Like, truly, like, the best art of the year is in this crossover with multiple artists. And then I read the new Warhammer comic, Marnius Calgar, who is the leader of the Ultramarines. So he's a character who's been around for a long time, like 2 decades, whatever, in the novels and games and stuff. I didn't think that they would add to the lore as much as they do in this comic book, with it being like a Marvel Disney comic book. It's still incredibly violent. It still has all the crazy chaos, sorcerer, monster stuff that I love about the Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines. But it does something with the character of Marnius Calgar that like fundamentally changes his role and like who he is as a character for all of the history that he's been, in a really cool way that also is pissing off a lot of hardcore fans. And I'm like, I don't see the problem here. I think this is a dope addition, because otherwise he's just like a boring white dude, and this makes it a lot more fun for me. So I think it's a really cool addition, and I'm just still so happy that this comic is coming out, because I'm like, this is a real Warhammer comic. Like, it's not just like we're putting it out to put it out. Like, it's got love and care behind it. And again, the art is just, oh, it's so good. Jason Burrows, you're the best. And then all I did for most of this week was play Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Spider-Man Miles Morales. The PS5 came out. I did not buy it. But I still have a PS4, and most of the PS5 games are still coming out on the PS4. So, hey guys, if you can't afford it, you can still play those games. Sony was kind of a little wishy-washy when it was first announced about what games would be on the PS5 only, and it turns out Demon's Souls is pretty much the only one you got to get the new console for. So if you want to play those games, guys, they're available.
How does Miles Morales run?
It runs and looks better than Spider-Man's PS4 version. It still looks great. Like, obviously it's not the PS5 version. It couldn't be. It's an 8-year-old console at this point, or 7-year-old console. But it looks great. Before I don't want to talk about it too much, because I know you guys are going to play it. But
I just actually was gifted it. So yeah,
awesome. Right on.
Oh, nice.
So before I go a little bit into it, before this game came out, there's a lot of speculation about how long the game was. It seems like a really quick development cycle for a huge Spider-Man game, and it was real like, hey, this is a shorter game. So I put about the same amount of time into Miles Morales and into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I am 50% into Miles Morales, and I just hit the prologue of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But that's because that's a 150 open world RPG. They're not the same type of game. It's just funny when you put them side by side. I'm like, wow, I'm almost done with the Spider-Man game, and I just got the chapter 1 in this video game. Right. It's just very funny to see. Guys, Miles Morales is freaking incredible. Like truly everything I was worried about, I worried about it being just a side game that wasn't going to be important, that maybe having this creative team of a bunch of white people handling a black character. They hired black writers to write this character. All the stuff I was worried about Miles Morales being put into this very shiny PS4 white world. There's nothing to worry about. It is so culturally diverse, and half the script is in Spanish because Miles and his mom speak Spanish, and it is so good, and all the villains and everything. Like, you guys know Miles Morales. Like, I don't need to explain you. If you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, you know who's in this. Like, it's not spoilers who shows up, like Genki and his uncle and all that stuff. Like, it's not spoilers. But the stuff it does with that, it's just different enough from Into the Spider-Verse to make it really cool and really impactful. And the villain stuff you see coming from a mile away. Like, you get introduced to this character and then you get introduced to the villain and you immediately know they're the same person. But the game is not trying to psych you out. It leans into it and it goes to like, oh, why is this person bad? I can help them. And it makes it emotional. I think it's a better game than Spider-Man. I think the gameplay is better. I think Miles' new powers make it so much more fun to play. And I want to talk about the rumors real quick. About a year ago, when this game before was even announced, the game was rumored to be during Christmas. It is during Christmas. It would be a lot of snow. It would be Miles Morales, right? And then the game was announced, and all that's true. With that being said, there's also stuff talking about the sequel game, the actual sequel game, and the stuff that they're implementing in this game. It looks like they were going to have a Gotham Knights Spider-Man game for the next game. And I don't want to talk about too much shit, but Miles and Spider-Man maybe both being in the next game where you can play both characters is maybe the most exciting thing I've ever seen in a game, that I'm just like, this game is so good and it's such a good foundation where I can see they wanted to make a smaller game to test this stuff before they make it a huge Spider-Man 2. And I'm just like, I can't wait for you guys to play it because it's exceptional. I think it's also so much funnier in every single way. It is a hilarious game. The bad guys dialogue, it's so funny. I just love it so much.
Maybe we'll get to do a review on it soon. We'll see.
Yeah. I was thinking as Miles Morales was coming out this week that like it wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to release the next Spider-Man game and not like they already incorporated you playing as him and Mary Jane in their own elements.
Yeah.
I'm like, it wouldn't make sense to release Miles Morales and not incorporate at least part of the game to be based around playing Miles as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's probably what will happen.
And looking, I know we might talk about Spider-Man soon, but playing this game and seeing how it is a much more streamlined, like 15-hour experience compared to I don't think Spider-Man is a overly stuffed game. You know, it's a big open world game with lots of collectibles, but I do think some of that Mary Jane and Miles stuff after a while gets kind of boring, and I just want to be Spider-Man, and it cuts a lot of that fat. So also some of the side quest fat. I think all the side quests are good, and they're all streamlined again to make it important why Miles is collecting the things. It's not just to collect them; it's for a story reason.
Right. I feel like also currently revisiting Spider-Man DLC where I just played Mary Jane. Yeah. I feel like the value of those things is that it kind of is like. But it's an excuse to let those characters stand as characters in the game when you aren't just having like long cinematics, because otherwise you're playing Spider-Man.
No, of course.
And so, they can only expand on those characters so much. Like, I get why they're there. They are dull. But, and I think that there's just the idea of those Mary Jane, Miles, Spider-Man 1 quests just need to be rethought so that they're at least more engaging skill-wise.
Yes, I just thought a few of them were fine, but I found like there was just one too many of them, and they were just too monotonous.
Yeah.
Real quickly, Witch Historian has a comment here. Says this is the representation that is needed when cut.
Yeah. Oh man, like there's like I'm just again like I'm very I'm very 2020 in life right now. I'm feeling very very woke. I just don't want to. Spider-Man's a very white game, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So, but when I come to Miles Morales, I do not want to see any of that shit. This is a Miles Morales game, and luckily, all of the music is hip hop inspired. The Christmas music is hip hop inspired. You have cinematic segments where he's doing stuff to rap music, and it's stuff he's listening to in the headset, and he takes off and you still hear the music in his headset, and it's such a more personal game in almost every way, and it also helps that it's smaller. What's up?
How do you unlock the Spider-Verse costume?
Baby, it's free from the start.
Yes.
No, only if you pre-order.
That's not true.
Oh.
Because I bought the game a day after it came out.
Yeah.
Just $49.99 on the PS Store. They gave it to you for free. Unless I got it for free for nothing.
They, in Sparks' defense, they did say that it was available for pre-order. It was a pre-order exclusive. However, you can earn it in game if you didn't pre-order it. Perhaps that's what they meant.
I started the game and I equipped the suit. I didn't pre-order the game.
It could be that they
PS5.
It could be that they went back on their on that because this week they said, and this isn't on our news, but this week they said that the exclusive PlayStation 5 suits that are going to be on the remaster of the Spider-Man PS4 are actually going to also be available for the PS4 update coming soon. Awesome. So it could be that much like that they were just like, you know what, never mind, we'll just give it to everyone.
It also could just be that because it's the PS4 last gen version, they didn't feel they needed to hide it behind a wall because like the incentive is on the PS5. Like, oh, I can get on the PS5. Whereas PS4, the game's going to sell way more on PS4 because 100 million PS4s are out there. The PS5 literally just launched. Like, I was a fool to even think they would launch this solely on the PS5. They want to make billions of dollars. Of course, they're going to release it on the PS4. But yeah, guys, playing the last thing on this game, playing it with the Spider-Verse suit with the Spider-Verse effects, where it distorts the what's called like the frame rate, but also when you punch dudes, it does like the boom pack. Wow. It really turns that game into something even better than it already was because it just feels like I'm playing Into the Spider-Verse at times.
Nice.
It's just so refreshing. Like this work week kind of sucked a little bit. It was really just a lot. It was a very busy week. People get Veterans Day off. I don't. I work twice as hard because people come to restaurants on Veterans Day. But Spider-Man was such a relief. And going into my next relief, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Hey guys, Vikings are cool. Did you know that?
I had a feeling. I had an inkling.
Yes. So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it's the third game in this new updated Witcher 3-esque Assassin's Creed franchise. Of the three Assassin's Creed games, Egypt, Greece, and now Norway/England with Vikings. The Vikings are the like group of people I know the least about. You know, I grew up loving Greek mythology. That's why I loved Odyssey so much as I did. And Origins is just a really, really great story in Egypt about a couple going through trauma of losing their son and what that does to them and splits them in two different directions, assassins and Templar, stuff like that. So when I came to this Vikings one, I'm like, okay, I don't really have any association with Viking stuff except for like Norse god of war shit, right? Whatever. It's amazing. Wow, Vikings are really cool. Those guys are really cool, you guys. So there's many different side quests you can do in all the Assassin's Creed games, and they're tied to like Egyptian stuff or Greek stuff. In this one, there's something called flighting, which is Viking rap battles, and this is a real thing. And this is something where Vikings get into circles and they rap battle each other, and they spit sick rhymes. But the point of the mini game, it teaches you about rhythm and flow, and it teaches you about rapping. And it's really interesting. It's one of the most unique side quests I've ever seen because it's all about wordplay. And it gives you, the dude raps something at you, like, your mother is gross, she looks like a pig. And it'll give you three options of three different rhymes, but you have to match the inflection and tone to make a better insult than he did, right? And I'll give you three things that sound good, but you have to know rhythm and flow to make it work, to make the insult work. So it's a constant battle of trying to sound cool, but also making the rhythm work to like the da 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 da, like music, right? And I've just never seen that in a game. And it's just you're just like, yo, your mother's ugly and I hate her, and you got to say something better than the next guy. And I just find that super fun. And all the Vikings, they're all very like Viking culture, and this is a game, I don't know if this is real, but like Viking culture, they're all very like machismo, and they like to make fun of each other, kind of like how we like rib each other, like we rib Ben. That's just what they're doing all the time, but they're doing it in jest because they're just like warrior people. And again, Viking society, like chicks can be just as badass as the Viking dudes, and I'm playing as girl Eivor, and she rocks, dude, and she has a huge scar right here, super cool. One of her kills is you get a hammer, and you get another hammer, and you slam a dude's head like that, and I'm like, this is insane. This is the most violent Assassin's Creed game by far. They turn the gore up to like 11. Like when you sword a dude, like blood splurts out like a Japanese like 50s movie, like 300. It's really cool. Also, the one of the best side games also is a drinking contest where it's a drinking battle, and it's a rhythm game where you have to hit A as you're drinking, and the faster you drink, the circle gets smaller, and the people behind you are going chug, chug, chug. And the more you drink, the more drunk you get. So you have to use a stick to wobble, and it's this hard game of getting drunk. And it's just super fun. And just all these games are tied to Viking culture, but it's also ways to just have some fun. And I'm like, yo, man, this game's great. You go on raids to build up your settlement. It's like Red Dead Revolution, where Red Dead Revolution, yes, where you build up your settlement, where you build a blacksmith so you can upgrade your shit, or you build a fishing village so you can get a better fishing boat, and it's just all the stuff that stems into the economy of being a Viking. So everything, much like Miles Morales, seems to matter in the world, and just both the games, I'm just loving so much. I put 8 hours into both of them over the last like 4 or 5 days. And I almost wish I didn't have a podcast so I can continue to play right now, because I am loving it so much. And I'm just so glad to have that in my life right now. And that's me talking for 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Goodbye. I did stuff with him too.
Real quickly, Witcher Story says The Witcher Game 3 is a correct. I think that might be a typo. It feels like it's not quite an Assassin's Creed game, which is what they've been trending for recently. Do you understand that, Ryan?
I think like the structure, like the new modern Assassin's Creed games are like The Witcher. They're open world action RPGs with like upgrading elements.
I see. Sparks, do you want to go next, or?
I suppose so.
Yeah, the old Assassin's Creed games were open world games, but they were much smaller and much kind of tighter, like not as big as breadth. And these games are much more just like, yo, this is a big ass game.
Yeah.
So I had to watch 13th. This came out a while ago on Netflix. It's the documentary about the 13th Amendment and our prison system here in America, mostly around Black people being incarcerated. I was aware it's directed by Ava DuVernay.
Sure.
I've heard a lot about it, but I never sat down to watch it. But I had to for a class, and it's a good documentary. It's a solid documentary. It's going to make you very angry. That's just the reality. It's really upsetting to watch them very eloquently explain how racism became political, became easy to litigate and hide blatantly into the Jim Crow laws, and then the war on drugs and all of that, leading into the bullshit of that we're all kind of aware of, but like it's just really in your face, and it's a lot, and it's a really good documentary. You will be angry after, so just be aware of it. But you should be angry about it. It's just I maybe didn't want to be that emotionally angry this week, but it's solid. I recommend it.
Thanks, school.
Yeah. I'm glad I watched it. I'm informed, more informed than before. Megan and I are still watching the 3rd season of Killing Eve. That's a good show.
Have they killed her yet?
No. Damn it.
She ain't dead yet.
For some reason, I watched The Little Mermaid this week.
It's a good movie.
And when I did that, I also decided for some reason to watch The Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea.
Oh, honey, no, why?
Guys, that's actually legitimately an enjoyable film.
Is it?
Up to a point.
Oh.
And there's a specific point where all of a sudden it becomes less enjoyable. And it's when you meet the discount Timon and Pumbaa walrus and penguin characters.
Oh, no.
I had no idea those characters were. I just knew Sebastian was. I thought he was going to be the main foil for Melody.
Yeah,
it's
Melody.
Okay.
That's Tara Strong, by the way.
Really?
Yep.
Good for her.
Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea, I think is fine. I like that story of Ariel and having to like relate to her daughter in a sense of like doing the same thing that her dad did, but in reverse. And it's like,
oh, it's like a massive.
It's a reach. No, yeah. Wait, years later, her daughter's a teenager. It has all of the original voice cast back except for Eric, including.
Wait, how does she? Never mind.
Including Ursula playing Ursula's sister. So it's fine. It's a fine watch.
The show's better.
I did it for some. The show is better, but I did it just to like. I don't know. I just did it. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, to interject really quick, a lot of the Disney sequels I've always been curious about. I think the only ones I know for a fact I have seen that I can remember is Lion King 2 and Mulan 2. Lion King 2 I liked, but Mulan 2 the more I remember Mulan 2.
We've had this discussion a lot because we want you desperately to watch Aladdin 3: King of Thieves.
Yeah, I want to watch that one. That one's fun. Yeah. That one I'm down. That one I'm down. Also, Cinderella 3 I heard is really good.
There are Disney sequels. Yes, there are Disney sequels that are just like bad. And then there's ones that are passable and fine, and you're like, they're nothing to write home about, but like, it's fine. It's a fine continuation. And then there's great ones. Little Mermaid 2 lands in the passable.
Okay.
Megan and I also watched the first episode of Prop Culture. We did a lot of Disney Plus stuff this week. Just the first episode because it's the Mary Poppins episode. She felt like doing it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good episode.
We also watched most of them, but we watched all the shorts on Short Circuit. The Short Circuit collection on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Where different people who work in Disney animation got to make a short. People who don't usually lead animation things. I also, on my own, watched Once Upon a Snowman, which is the new Olaf short related to Frozen. I'm a sucker, I think, for this kind of story element, which is we're going to revisit the thing from the original project, but show it from a different point of view. So what this is that the opening of the short is the middle of Let It Go when Elsa makes Olaf in the snow. And then it follows Olaf up into the point he meets Anna and Kristoff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Lion King 1.5?
Yeah, essentially, but condensed into a 12-minute short. So it's, much tighter and works better. And that's actually pretty good, I have to say. As not a big fan of Olaf, I think that the comedy of it is pretty good. He spends a long time at Wandering Oaken's trying to find a nose with him because Oaken thinks he's cool. Wandering Oaken is the redheaded shopkeeper guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Real quickly, Witch Historian says Mulan 2, King of Thieves, and Cinderella 3 are the best sequels. I'll fight you a bit on Mulan 2.
I will definitely fight you on Mulan 2 because I did not like Mulan 2.
I would also land in the same place.
But King of Thieves, Cinderella 3 are good.
Those I've heard are the best ones. So those I'm like, okay.
Here's the thing. I really like Simba's Pride too.
I do too.
It's been years, but yeah. Getting back to Olaf.
So Once Upon a Snowman, I think is a solid little thing. I think they do a good job of like pointing out where Anna and Kristoff are and how Olaf is just kind of within their perimeter, but doing other things before he eventually ends up colliding with them. It's fun. It's engaging. I recommend it. Still on the Disney Plus kick, we watched George of the Jungle.
We did watch it.
Yeah.
Megan hadn't seen it in years.
The original one?
I saw it since I watched it like on DVD when it came out like 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Yeah.
That movie's awesome.
That movie's hilarious.
That movie, besides some just a couple like dated things, like it holds up, like very, very funny and like fourth wall breaking. And like the I see the gif online of like, this is where we throw our heads back and laugh. Like I see that gif all the time. I'm like, oh right, it's from George of the Jungle.
Yeah. Wait, that's from George of the Jungle?
Yeah.
Are you?
I really like the.
I thought that was from like a nature documentary or something.
No. I really like the bit where John Cleese is like,
yeah.
Oh, he's John Cleese is the gorilla, right?
John Cleese is the gorilla.
Yeah.
He's an ape named Ape.
Like someone like. It's obviously a kids movie, so there's some like physical comedy to this. I just don't think it's super funny. But like Brendan Fraser, man, like you said, he was repping like good Goku energy, and I'm like, yeah, like big dumb guy.
I was as we were watching it, I'm like, I think Brendan Fraser playing George is the closest I've seen like spiritual personality wise to Goku in live action.
Like so
that's
wholesome.
That's wholesome and stupid in the right way.
And super strong.
And super strong. I'm like, yeah, that's. Like he's unfathomably unbeatable, so he doesn't take anything seriously.
Yeah, he's One Punch Man.
Yeah,
that movie's really funny.
Yeah, George of the Jungle is solid. Really,
watch out for that tree.
I didn't know there was a sequel. So when we clicked on the thing, it's got the kid from 2.5 Men.
Yeah,
the most soulless stare. Like they picked the worst picture for like the promo shot because the kid's just like evil looking. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm never watching that movie. Wow.
I want to say that was his first acting gig too.
Brendan Fraser is not in that film, so I have not seen it.
It's like a Brad Pitt knockoff. It's like Brad Pitt.
The only good joke in George of the Jungle 2 is the very beginning when the narrator says, "Our hero George," and George swings in, and then it's the new guy, and he's like, "You're not Brendan Fraser," and then he's like, "No, studio couldn't afford him," and then they move on. It's the only good joke.
That's pretty good.
And it's at the very beginning, and it's all downhill from there. I was saying to Ryan and Megan that I felt like George of the Jungle is the most like Muppet movie kind of humor and energy I've seen in a movie that doesn't actually have like the Muppet characters. although the gorillas are partially puppeteered by Jim Henson Company. So George of the Jungle happened. We also that same night watched The Mole.
Oh yeah,
we watched the first episode of this old show called The Mole.
Anderson Cooper's The Mole,
which is from like the year 2000. That show is basically live action Among Us.
For real. Oh. Like the timing couldn't be crazier of like us playing Among Us and then watching the show, which it's about a group of people doing tasks and one person is trying to sabotage them to get all the money.
But like they have to be careful how they figure it out. And so like a person gets eliminated for knowing the least about who the mole is because they all have to answer this questionnaire at the end. And without like revealing anything to the others, the people who are running the show check them and find the person who has acquired the least information, and that person is eliminated. And when they're eliminated, they make a big like goodbye reel because they're executed. Oh, yeah. And so they make this like cheesy minute-long reel of this dude who is only in the one episode so far. Manuel, who's like, and they give descriptors where it's like, you know, undercover cop is this one guy's profession and career. Manuel, who gets eliminated, his descriptor was single father.
It's like the most 2000s like stereotype show. But it was actually really entertaining.
It was really entertaining.
Anderson Cooper's the host, like 10 years before he went into politics, and it's him being like wearing like a turtleneck sweater with like a leather jacket, trying to be cool. And I'm like, oh Anderson. You don't know where you're going to be in 20 years, my man.
Just which historian says such a ridiculous show after saying OMG Anderson Cooper.
They go out of their way to cut to a shot to make it look like Anderson Cooper is flying the plane that they go in. And I'm like, cheesy. He's obviously not going to be their pilot, but they go out of their way to film it. Okay.
I need to look this up real quick. Keep talking.
On YouTube for free.
Yeah, it's on YouTube for free.
Hello,
Katie.
Root.
Katie is the reason we watched The Mole.
We watched it with her.
We watched it with her. So there you go. We also played Among Us. You played Among Us for the first time.
Yes, I did. I've watched many streams of famous people playing that game, and then I decided I'll play it now.
And now you have joined the legion of famous people playing that game.
I am so famous, guys.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, the game. I love games that are about like being deceptive, or like you can lie to your friends, but it's all in good jest. Yeah. Like that is always like Ultimate Werewolf games like that. Mm-hmm. Big fan of those games.
Yeah, it's very much the same concept as Ultimate Werewolf, just in like that format. Yeah. We also played some Fortnite this week. You returned to Fortnite for a bit.
I did return to Fortnite. God, that game is still good.
Yeah. This was the week where they decided to release in the item shop Psylocke, Domino, and Cable. Yeah, all in one bundle.
Daredevil's there.
Daredevil and Ghost Rider are there. Yeah.
Silver Surfer's cool, and I was like, Blade's cool.
Yeah, that is a Marvel heavy game right now.
Galactus is literally just like approaching. He's
just on the horizon.
Oh. Yeah. So we're gonna fight in like a week or two, probably.
Yeah.
You're looking up the mole.
Yeah, I'm looking up Anderson Cooper and the Mole, and damn, he did love that.
Real quickly, which historian says he was really hot there? Can you corroborate, Ben?
Yeah.
That was both Mulder.
I would argue, has Anderson Cooper ever stopped being hot?
Start from the top.
Now, I have to say, Anderson Cooper is a very good-looking man, but I kind of like the white on his hair a little bit more. Although, to be perfectly honest, he probably got that through the past 4 years of the current administration.
Yeah.
Just losing his mind.
Yeah, Fortnite's still fun. Our anime group started a new anime. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen. It's all about there are cursed objects that exist in the world, and only some people can see the auras that they create and the spirits that they attract, spirits and demons who want to consume the cursed objects to become more powerful. And one hapless dude happens to get in the middle of the whole thing because he can kind of see these things, and he's helping a dude who like actively pursues these cursed objects, and he ends up swallowing this 1,000-year-old finger, and then becoming like demonically possessed. But he's somewhat able to control it.
I think I've seen a clip of this.
It's pretty dope. Brandon, you didn't get to watch the first episode yet, right? Yeah, that's going to be our show for a while. I like the first episode, so solid stuff.
Into it.
I'm playing through the Spider-Man DLC right now. Just returned to it.
Start that before, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just finished the first piece and started the second.
Gotcha.
So I just started the part where like you're after Hammerhead's gang hideouts in the rain.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. That game's fun. It takes a little bit to get back into the swing of it, but then you're there.
Because again, remember, like they expect you to know everything still.
Yeah.
So like they throw hard
For
enemies
sure.
at you.
You know,
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
games need to put? Quick side tangent. You know what games really need to do is if you boot up a game after, because obviously there's like an internal clock in the system, and it keeps track of how your hours. There should be like, hey, you haven't played this game in like 2.5 months. Here's how to redo the controls that you forgot.
Yeah. That definitely makes it hard for me to go back to games I dropped for a while, where I'm like, all right, gotta spend like an hour or two.
That's why
remembering how to be, you know.
That's why when I start like huge open world RPGs that are like 100 hours long, I try to stay with it as long as I can. Because if I come back in like 70 hours, I'm like, I have no idea what's happening right now.
I'm just reading the story in his comments.
I'm reading that too.
I'll pull that up for the audience. Excuse me. Thank you. He has never not been hot. This is talking about Anderson Cooper. We passed this bit, but and he started growing gray white when he was 20. So Silver Fox, come at me,
Silver Fox.
I agree.
Some John Oliver energy.
Yeah.
He's talking about Adam Driver.
Yeah. Oh God, I love when he talks about Adam Driver.
Yeah, basically. The last things I'll talk about is I watched Scream 3 for no particular reason, except I guess Brandon said I haven't seen it, and then we're watching it, and he's like, nope, I've seen this. But then couldn't figure out who the killer was for the life of him. Guess literally everybody.
In fairness, I cannot remember most of the movie, and I don't think the killer makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yep. We also played a game called Blockbuster.
Yes.
And Mysterium. We tried Mysterium for the first time.
Mysterium, which was a lot of fun. Yes. We played a. Are you done? Can I go?
We're kind of sharing talking about that, so go ahead.
Okay, so it was my birthday, and Sparks and your missus came by, and we played a game called Blockbuster that ended up being, I bought it on a lark. It's based off Blockbuster Video.
So is it the Blockbuster game that comes in the plastic thing?
Yeah,
like a Target.
And we played 3 rounds of this game, all switching teams, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
So basically, like, all of the concepts are that you have to try to be agreed. Scream 3 is amazing, but the others are more amazing. The point of Blockbuster is a lot of like you're testing your movie knowledge.
Ooh, yeah.
And so like you're working on your team to get them to recognize the film based off either one word or a quote or by acting it out. And you kind of get to gauge where you put them. But before you get to lay those films out for that with your partner, you and one person from the other team have to go head to head against each other. And you get a random card that's like movies with a dog. And you hit a timer that goes for 15 seconds. And you get to hit it every time you come up with a movie that hasn't been mentioned. And isn't part of the same franchise. And you just go for as long as you can until one of you can't think of them. And that,
so imagine
that
me
was
and Sparks.
Yeah.
Airbud 2, Airbud 3,
one of them was
Homeward Bound.
One of them was movies. Which one was the one we went like forever on?
It was the second one. I don't remember what that one was.
Yeah. Man, it was wild.
At the end of the night, it was 3:30 in the morning, and I slept good that night.
That's true.
I need to bring that. I want to play that game now.
We talked about it when we were playing. Like, as soon as we can all get together in person, like the 4 of us doing our thing, yeah, man, we're playing that game.
Because I see that. I
bought the expansion today.
No, Mag's like old yeller.
With how the board is set up, could we do it virtually? If he just has a board, you know what I mean? Since it's just trivia knowledge, right?
No, you have to pass the cards off, and so like because what happens is whoever wins the head-to-head gets 6 movies, and they get to pick whoever won it gets to pick the 3 they think are going to be the easiest for their team and give the hardest to the other team.
Got it.
Okay,
and the goal is to get one film from all 8 genres that are in the game.
Got it. Okay.
Oh man, that sounds really fun.
It's a lot of fun. The expansion comes with 100 new movies and 4 new genres. A little board game, so you can actually play the expansion by itself.
Ooh.
With just those cards. So yeah, I'm ready to go again on that game.
Man, that's what's no, because every time I see games like that at Blockbuster, because there's like a Trapper Keeper game, there's the Blockbuster game, or there's all these like novelty games that it's like, oh, that looks cool. Probably is a shit game.
But the other game we played was also really fun. I really enjoyed that one.
Mysterium.
Yeah, Mysterium.
Ghost games.
Yeah, Blockbuster would be a lot of fun to do. I think we would even record it sometime.
I'm down.
We got cameras.
I'm done. Yeah, no, I'm done.
Well, it's because why don't I go? Because I have my birthday first.
Mm-hmm.
So age before beauty.
Call me beautiful.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, thank you. Don't feel beautiful, but appreciate it.
Like Sparks said, like we've been talking about a lot, I had my birthday this past Saturday, and Sparks and his missus came by, and we played some games, watched Scream 3, which I enjoyed. But I also went up this past week to see my family. I mentioned before I went out of town. I did go see my dad and my mom and my dog. Not necessarily in that order. I put my dog before my mom. But we, it was a good time. I had a good time, honestly. In a rare form, my mom and I did not fight. We fought beforehand, so we got that out of our system.
Good.
But I wanted to go see my my grandparents' graves. I haven't been in a very, very long time.
Oh.
And I wanted to go. So we would go up to San Jose. That's where they're buried, and we paid our respects. I haven't been there in a while. But I'm going to tell you a fun little anecdote. I went to a hot dog place up in San Jose called the Hungry Hot Dog? I forgot what it's called. Hold on. Happy Hound.
Happy Hound.
Happy Hound. It is called Happy Hound. It's been there forever. It's a family-owned joint. It's a small little place. So we ordered some hot dogs, some tater tots. And so I'm like, oh, I'm easy. Give me a corn dog, give me some tater tots, and give me a hot dog with ketchup. Well, so we get the food, and let me show you what my hot dog with ketchup looked like.
I'd eat that.
For the audio listeners, that was a hot dog with shredded cheese on top, not
a little bit.
Like
a Ryan amount of cheese.
Covered in cold shredded cheddar cheese.
Oh, it's not even warm.
No, it's all cold.
F that.
Right.
On top of a warm hot dog. And I was looking at that and I'm like, how? You know what? How did you do this? Like, how did I go, hey, can I get a hot dog with ketchup? The most basic hot dog you've ever seen in your life. And the person on the other side of the glass went, got it, cheese. Like, how'd you do that? I'm honestly a little impressed.
As someone who works at a restaurant, sometimes tickets get swapped. People are stupid.
As someone who's also worked in a restaurant, I can confirm everything Ryan is saying. Sometimes
I didn't go back to get the hot dog because I was kind of like worried about what that conversation would look like. Excuse me, you just put a ton of shredded cheese on my hot dog.
Can I get like an extra dog for all this cheese? The portions are off.
Apparently, they wanted a dog with your cheese.
I tried to eat it. I ate most of it. Honestly, it was a lot of food because of the shredded cheese.
Good.
It was wild. I was happy I ordered the corn dog and the thing. We looked at it for a solid. Yeah, the corn dog was fine. We looked at it for like a solid 5 minutes, looking at like, how did you do this?
It's like Ashton Kutcher's back there. He thinks he's getting a ketchup dog, but he's gonna get a cheese one.
And I'm thinking like maybe they like switched the orders because like maybe they have a regular there that just buys it with shredded cheese. But the person before us was this old lady, and I'm like, surely she's not getting a hot dog with shredded cheese on it.
Cold shredded cheese.
Cheese and hot dogs every day.
Just funny enough, I would totally eat a hot dog with cold shredded cheese on it.
I did.
I would too, but like if it's not what I ordered, I'd be like,
I know if it's not what you ordered.
It's just such a weird. How do you get from ketchup to cold shredded cheese? How do you get from point A to eventually point B?
And I mean, not that much cheese. That's the thing. Is like if I have a hot dog and just like a mountain of cold shredded cheese on top, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. You have to eat like a pound of cheese before you get to the dog. By the time you're there, like you're there out.
Man, it's funny because normally when people say, "Yeah, I like cheese," they'll put like a little bit. I mean, they'll put
just a bit. And you know what? It's also melted and toasted.
Yeah, and oh god, even there are times when I go to Chipotle, I'm ordering my burrito. It's like, hey, even when I did it on the app, it's like, hey, can I get extra cheese? They just put the regular amount of cheese, and then when I go in store, it's like, put a little bit extra. I give me my cheese, lady or person, whoever's there.
But that's enough of that anecdote. I wanted to share that on the podcast because that was
that was
time.
funny.
I liked it. I'm a cheese man. Even I'm like, come on.
Even I have.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I added the picture just to give you guys that visual.
Although I don't know how much of a cheesehead I am, that when I first saw the picture, I'm thinking, oh, so you got an upgrade.
I got some good gifts for this birthday. I'm really appreciative. I felt really loved. I had one of the best days of the year, probably the best day of my whole year. Yesterday, this year's been tough, and I was lucky. I got to see my best friend and have a good time. You gave me a beautiful gift. You gave me Kevin Conroy saying how much he loved me. That's beautiful. But my girlfriend gave me a new watch. She does, and as you can see, she had it custom painted with Marceline bubblegum.
Oh, that's cool.
The best relationship in Adventure Time. So I was very touched by that. I recently went through Adventure Time. I love Adventure Time. And she had inscribed it for the Marcy to my PB. November 2020.
Oh, that's so much.
So
cute.
Isn't that adorable? So
I really love it.
Anyway, so like going on to the nerd stuff I did this week. I watched Little Mermaid for some reason. Later. Scream 3 I talked about. I started and finished The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh right, we should watch that show.
Yeah.
Damn,
I told you to beat us.
Yeah.
I wanted to finish it because I wanted to be sure that I watched it before I went up to Monterey. I don't think it is structured as well, and as people have said, it's not as scary. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't think the show is structured as well as Hill House, and that's its detriment for me. Overall, I think Hill House is a better show. However, I think Bly Manor has a better ending for me.
Good.
I think Bly Manor ends very strongly. What?
I can't speak to that yet.
Yeah. I think the ending of Bly Manor really resonated with me on a way that Hill House didn't. Not to say Hill House has a bad ending. I was just a little left cold by it, whereas Bly Manor, I don't think I was.
Good.
That's all I'll say on that one, because as we talked about, you guys are going through it right now, and I don't want to get too much into it.
Appreciate it.
I read a bunch of comics because I went up north, and while my mom's watching Grey's Anatomy, I needed something to do. So I watched Grace and Frankie. It's a good show. I caught up on the death metal issues. I was three issues behind. Rise of the New Gods, which was good, which I liked. Yeah, actually, I really like that one. It's got a Gurren Lagann-esque kind of thing happening in the background, which I appreciated. The Justice League issue, which I liked. And then, what's it called? Infinite Hour Extreme with 3 X's, which is a Lobo one-shot, written by Frank Thierry. It's pretty wild. I actually had a good time with that one. And I'll speak just a tad on it. Because it does introduce a new Batman, Dark Knight, who is Lobo and his, whatever. But I think Lobo is such a fun character to kind of comment on the silliness that's happening within death metal, and he was a fun character to ride throughout the death metal universe. There's 3 pages where he rewrites the Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman origins to be Lobo, and I thought those were a lot of fun. Also, it's a good time, honestly.
I like me some Frank Thierry. He did that Space Punisher. Like he's definitely a wild guy. So like the last death metal issue I read was the Infinite. Well, it was the one with Alan Man. I forget. Was the Infinite Multiverses? What was it called?
The end of the Multiverse's End.
Multiverse's End. Yeah. I really like that book a lot. When the book isn't taking itself too seriously, that's when I'm most enjoying it. So I'm glad that Lobo one, like I might probably check that out.
Yeah, Rise of the New Gods picks up directly after Multiverse's End, but it's not really about what's happening there. But we do get more about what happened after they left those universes and what their plan is to beat the Darkest Night or whatever. I read Crossover, which is Donny Cates' new book. That one resonated with me on a way that I didn't expect, but that has more to do with what I'm going through emotionally lately in regards to how I enjoy or don't enjoy comic books. it's more a book that I'll acknowledge came at the right time in my life than it is so much as a good book. I do think it's a good book, but I don't think it's like anything mind blowing or whatever. It's got a great premise that I'm intrigued in. He's in it for the long haul with that one. I posted on Twitter that I liked one of the reasons why I like Donny Cates. One of the things that I think about a lot with crossover specifically is that even if he's not sure he can do something as a writer or as talented, he always makes an attempt, and he's always just like, look, if it doesn't work, at least I tried it. And I appreciate that, not just on a writer level, but also as a person level. I think that's what gravitates me towards like his more stuff, even if I don't think it's 100% there. I think it's got the potential to do it because he's doing his best, essentially.
Right. Yeah. That's what I said. Like, I don't think that first issue was terrific. I think the premise is cool. He is in it for the long haul. I just personally wanted that first issue to give me more reasons to care about the investment.
Yeah. And then I caught up. Yeah, I'll say I caught up. I caught up on the Black Hammer universe. I was 3 issues behind, technically 2 miniseries behind, because I hadn't read the last 2 issues of Skull Digger and Bonehead? Crossbones? I don't remember the kid's name. And Skeleton Boy. That's it. And Colonel Weird Cosmagog had its first issue last week. And I thought both of those series, which are written by Jeff Lemire, are excellent. Some of the best of the Black Hammer universe. Skull Digger is going in a direction I had no idea could be done. It's kind of a Batman knockoff at first. You're kind of thinking, oh, this is just Batman meets Punisher or whatever. But by the end of it, you're like, wow, it's so flipped on its head. You just kind of got whiplash. Colonel Weird Cosmagog, I think, is right up Brian's alley.
I almost picked it up, but I'm just so far behind because that is a character I like the most because of just how weird he is. I almost picked it up, but I'm just so far behind. I didn't want to have to invest in like more. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I get that. It's only a 4-issue miniseries about what happened to Colonel Weird after the last Black Hammer series, and you don't really need to know anything because he is such a weird character. He's kind of like floating, lost through time and dimensions and appearing in places that he shouldn't be appearing in, and like seeing things that may or may not be a moment in time or an hallucination or whatever. Very weird, very like psychedelic. I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
That's all I did.
Goodbye, paper.
Goodbye.
Where'd that go?
Benji.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to be pretty quick. So as you guys can see, I am not in my old spot. As I said before, I has been saying for the past few weeks, I moved.
You're in an attic.
No, I'm not in an. God damn it! I'm actually in a loft. So
Ooh.
yeah, I know. So before it was the bunker. Now I'm in the loft.
We'll still call it the bunker.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah,
I'm gonna call it the attic.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really see, but I'm actually using my computer desk that Fanny gave me.
Amazing.
So I got a computer desk. I got space for my PC. Once I
For those of you who don't know, this will probably make a lot more sense when you realize that Ben has been recording from his bed.
Yeah,
every week.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Ben! Then we can start playing PC games finally.
We can start playing PC games. And like Brandon said, or like I said earlier. Yesterday was Brandon's birthday. Today is my birthday. So I also want to share some of the presents I got. Mostly this t-shirt I'm wearing right now, which for the audio listeners, it is a Amazon Prime t-shirt, but it's in the font of the classic Transformers, and it's Optimus Prime as a white Amazon truck with a freaking Amazon Prime trailer.
I was pretty proud of that when I got that.
I bet you were. Now, of course, for those of you who are wondering, why would Brandon get Ben an Amazon Prime t-shirt? Does Ben like Amazon that much?
As much as Stephen King.
I am an ex-Amazon employee, and I don't have very nice things to say about them. So,
but now you got the shirt, so screw you.
Now I have a shirt.
You're wearing it. That's it.
Although I have to say,
thank you.
Although I have to, because when I looked at the mailing, like the return address for it, I was like independent artist. And to be perfectly honest, I thought Brandon had like Jen or Jeremy or Mike like commission a Nostalgia's Bitch t-shirt on the sly and gave me that.
I'm not gonna. Here's the thing. You know what? Now that you brought it up, I'm not gonna do it on the sly. I've already done it.
Already?
But did we agree on the design yet?
Not yet.
Okay. We've been talking about it for a while.
Okay, so you three are in cahoots. I'm the one who's in the dark.
I'm
All
just
right.
talking to an artist.
You.
Have
See
you
ya.
met me?
See you at Christmas.
Shit.
Here's the thing, though, Ben. Yeah, I didn't get that from Amazon, so I didn't support Amazon
No,
in the
no,
getting
no.
of that short. So
Well, yeah, I know. Oh, I'm still gonna keep it. I mean, it's Optimus Prime. I love Optimus Prime, but I do get the. I get the joke, and you know what? I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna get rid of a good shirt.
get better.
It's for billionaires.
Although I do like how on every Prime Day there's always that on my Facebook or even 9gag, there's always that person who posts is like, people have forgotten the true reason of Prime Day. It's the shot from the Transformers movie when Optimus died. It's like, this is why we celebrate Prime Day, to remember Optimus Prime and how he beat back the Decepticons in 2005.
Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah. So besides that, Sparks also got me a cameo, a really cool cameo that I was not expecting, that I opened up right at midnight, because that's when you sent it to me. It was a cameo by Todd Lights, who, for those of you who don't know, is the PA announcer at Dodger Stadium. So of course, since the Dodgers won the World Series this year, he sent me the cameo, and my jaw was on the floor. And the whole time I'm watching that, Fanny is next to me looking at it going, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that guy? I have no idea who that is. Who's that guy?" Because at first I saw this video and I click on it and it says, "Hey, Ben." I'm like, wait, how does he know my name? And then he talks.
Do you know how do you know how Sparks did it to me?
How do you do it to you?
He said, "I have one more thing for you. It's a video message from a friend of ours. He just wanted me to send it to you. He just wanted me to show it to you. So I've got my phone. That's good." I'm like, "Okay, sure. Who is it? Jeremy, Matt? I don't care." So Kevin Conroy was like, "Hello, Brandon." I'm like, "Ah!"
Hello, Brandon.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It was a really awesome message. I did watch it like 5 times last night when I first saw it. Like right before the bed, I'm like, I'm just gonna watch it one more time. Yeah, just one more time.
Man, cameos. I completely forgot that was a thing that you can do, and I'm like, oh wow, I could have been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Cameos are cool. It's like, yo man, give the celebrity money. I'll talk to you for a second. Like,
Lindsay Lohan will send you a video message for $400.
Listen, 2005 Lindsay Lohan, yes. 2020 Lindsay Lohan, no. Sorry.
I'll say this because I saw her video thing listed on Cameo, and I'll say she looks good,
Yeah.
but she also looks unrecognizable.
Oh,
But she looks good. So I mean, I don't know.
it's a win-lose. It's a win-lose.
Y'all remember her Playboy spread a couple years ago?
No.
No.
Oh well, she did a Playboy spread a couple years ago.
You heard it here first. I read it for the articles.
Yeah, Cameo.
Yeah.
Interesting. I won't lie. I had the Kevin Conroy idea a little while ago, and then I thought about Dodgers stuff after the World Series.
How quick was the response?
2 days from both.
Nice, not bad.
2 days. They have a within a week turnaround.
Okay,
And if they don't get the video done for you in a week, then they just
refund you.
cancel it and refund you, and
Makes
you
sense.
could try again if you want, and that kind of thing.
Oh, shit.
It's very interesting because you are only allowed to basically give them a tweet of information.
Okay.
Like it's that many characters.
That's nothing.
Yeah. So you have very concise. They do help you by you have several categories to help specify what the main event of it is, and you can. You can lack punctuation and brevity if you want to get more details in there. You know, you can go
Say this.
Yeah. You don't need to spend a bunch of time on proper grammar kind of thing if you don't want to. But I tried not to be very guiding. I just gave small insight with that. And Todd ran with what he got, and Kevin Conroy really ran with what he got for Brandon. So
Yeah, I saw yours, Ben. I can't wait to see yours, Brandon. That's gonna be
man.
Yeah, I'll probably post. I'll have to post a trim because it's 5 minutes long. But
Right.
I'll post something of it this week.
Yeah. It just felt like a really nice way to do something nice for you guys, because I thought of it, and Todd was easier to pull off than Kevin. I'm not gonna lie, so that's what made me go for it. And also, I feel like I've bought making fun of you for the Dodgers for the next year by doing that. So.
And I gotta say, you're. I was almost expecting a joke in that message, but it was nice and heartfelt. And I'm like,
I was like, I'm not. It's a birthday message.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be a dick.
I was waiting for I heard you're a fan of Stephen King, and I'm like, oh god. It was.
I was expecting something, but because when you sent me because you texted me the video, and when I saw the thing, and I saw like a gentleman with a beard, because I'd never seen what he looked like live. I mean, the last time I did see him was for Fan Appreciation Day back in 2000.
Yeah.
And of course, I was sitting way up at the top deck, and he was all the way down the field. And if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, top deck is really, really high up.
He looks like an ant.
It's hard to see. And even with the Jumbotron, it's been over 20 years now. So for him to talk, and even when I was listening to it, because Fanny was watching, I was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And then she's like, "Ooh, he sounds announcery. Is he an announcer for something?" I'm like, "This is the guy who tells you who's up to bat at Dodger Stadium. This is the guy." So that was
a very sweet idea.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. I was over the moon. I absolutely loved it. The big giant thing that I did get was from Fanny, and it was funny enough. So Fanny helped me out with our move with the safety deposit. So I'm just paying her back slowly. It's a good agreement, and plus she knows where I live. So if I don't pay her back, she can come break my legs.
Shit, that got dark.
It's not like you guys have been together for years and years and years. Also,
yeah,
true. Ben, if Fanny is abusing you,
she's
blink twice.
She's not.
Blink twice, Ben.
No, she's not. I swear. No. I swear to God.
That was two.
She did it. Ben, we're coming.
She is not. She is not. Oh my gosh. So I paid her a portion of the cash. Then I was like, okay, this is fine. But then I just looked, because I paid her back through Venmo, and I looked down and I saw that my mom paid Fanny, and there was a birthday present emoji there. And I'm like,
you gotta make private.
Yeah, why are you making this private, Mom?
So Fanny's asleep at this point. So she wakes up. She's like, okay, I gotta go take a shower. I'm like, so my mom helped you with something, didn't she? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I saw on Venmo. She gave you money for my birthday present, didn't she?
Man, the way you sounded is like when Mark Wahlberg was saying to Zooey Deschanel in The Happening, I didn't even have a cough.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That's how you're telling the story.
I went Mark Wahlberg, good Lord. I meant like more sinister, I found your plan.
That's what he does. In The Happening, Zooey Deschanel talks about how she had a dinner with some dude, and it was only a dinner. And he was talking like, I went to the gas station and I went inside to get a...
We can't do this whole scene.
Can we not?
To get some cough syrup. I didn't even have a cough.
It's the best part of that movie.
All right. So anyway. I'm talking to Penny. She's like, well, it's not what you think it is. And I'm sitting in like the whole rest of the night. I was like, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to pry, because I didn't know. It doesn't show how much my mom gave Fanny. But the whole time I'm thinking, it's like, it's going to be something big. Maybe it's the PS5. No, I'm not expecting a PS5.
It was just the cash.
But if it is a PS, because my mind was thinking it's possibly a PlayStation 5.
My mom didn't get me shit.
Well, so long story short, it wasn't a PlayStation 5, but Fanny coordinated between not just my mom, but also my younger brother, my dad, and his wife, and they got me a brand spanking new MacBook Pro, a brand new laptop, which I've been desperately need for over 5 years, because as Brandon and Ryan can attest, to my old laptop, because sometimes we would record on that, would crap out right in the middle, and I would be super scared to use it.
Yep.
We had a lot of recording issues in the old days.
Yes, we did. And I'm currently recording this through Fanny's laptop, so once I open it, and after the hugs and kisses happen, she looked at me and dead in the eye and said, stop using my laptop now, you have your own.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Hugs and kisses.
The old hugs and kisses.
But of course, she also gave me a really sweet card, and it's like a tradition for us. Whenever we give each other cards for birthdays or anniversaries, we always try to find us a really cute Star Wars one. She got me like a Rhinestone Vader for the audio listeners, and of course, and like always, it has a really cute handwritten message from her. So that was nice. Besides that, I did a whole lot of moving. Unfortunately, Ryan, I had Veterans Day off, but unfortunately, I also worked, but not working in that sense. I was continuously moving. But there was some media. There is media that I did actually was able to consume. So right after we stopped recording the podcast last Sunday, I went on Hulu and was like, I'm just going to check through Hulu. I just want to see what's there. My Hero Academia pops up. It's like, you know what? Last time I checked, they didn't have the dubs of season 3. I'm going to check to see. Guess what they had? They had the dub.
Rick and Morty season 4.
That too.
They finally put that on there.
Yeah, they finally put that on. So they had, not only did they have the dub of season 3 for My Hero Academia, which is a season I've been wanting to watch, they also have the dub of the entirety of season 3 and season 4. They're up there because I thought they were only going to be on the Funimation, and then I'm scrolling again, and they have the episodes for Princess Half Demon Yashahime, the Inuyasha sequel.
Oh,
yeah. So not only do the subs are coming out first, but they're also slowly but surely putting the dub episodes up as they come out. So I started essentially 2 animes this week. I started watching season 3 of My Hero Academia. I'm on the last episode of season 3. And I am also watching Yashahime with Annie. And Lord, do I have things to say about both. And
okay, so now you and I can officially return to My Hero Academia because we don't have to wait for Ben anymore like we were.
Okay, cool.
Wait, I want to watch the movie with you guys first.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that. I was there for that conversation.
So we're gonna pick up My Hero Academia at some point if it's okay with you.
I don't even know where we are.
We're right before season 3 because that's when the movie happens.
Did we finish season 2?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
This was a year
It was
ago.
a long time. It was a long time ago. Thank God for recap episodes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Princess Half. Yeah. So I'm loving season 3 of My Hero Academia. I feel bad for Class 3A. I'm not gonna spoil it because you guys haven't watched it yet. But damn, what's up?
Don't say anything about it. Yeah.
I'm loving it. I can't wait to finish it. Princess Half Demon. The main character isn't who you think it is.
She's a full demon.
No. Okay. Her parents aren't the person you think they are.
Oh, spoilers.
So it's there's 3 main characters. 2 of them are twin sisters, and there's a third one. And it kind of threw me for a loop at first. But I don't hate it, and I'm really enjoying it. Well, I'm still very early in. I'm only 5 episodes in.
Enjoying it means you don't hate it. You don't need to say, I don't hate it, I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, let me rephrase. I'm enjoying it. It's a good. If you're a fan of Inuyasha, you're most likely going to really like this.
I am a fan of Inuyasha. And half demons, even full demons. I'll take all of them.
It's like, oh man, I'm not to set anything in stone, but I was a friend of the podcast and also a podcaster herself, Inga, who hosts Adults Talking Anime. Plus, I've been on her show a few times. Yes. When I finally started watching not only My Hero Academia, but also Yashahime, I started messaging her. I'm like, yo, when do you talk about Yashahime? Where are they?
And I'm so sorry.
Where are insert character's name here? That's possibly a spoiler.
How many episodes have you watched?
5.
Okay. Give it more time.
And there's 7 up on Hulu right now.
Got it.
All right.
Cool.
Is anything else better?
That's all I got. Just
all right.
Moving.
I want to say one thing. I forgot in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, my favorite moment happened where there was like a cliffside, right? And I'm inside this building, and you get an ability to throw axes as one of your like special abilities. So I kick a door open, and this Englishman turns around. And he's like, "What's this then?" And I just throw axes at him, and he goes, "Ah!" And he just falls off the cliff. And it's the funniest I've laughed maybe this year in video games. Just situational comedy is really great in video games. That's all.
All right, so let's move into our bread and butter.
Wait, real quick. Ryan forgot one other thing. Didn't you watch the Green Mile?
I did not watch the Green Mile or the Green Mile this week. I missed this week because I worked until after the show even ended.
Gotcha. All right.
Overtime.
Also, for some reason, I had to watch Little Mermaid. That was a fun thing to go home to. If anyone wanted to watch Yashahime, I was like, yeah, but I got to watch Little Mermaid. She was like, what?
We all watched it. It's weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Right. So let's get into our bread and butter.
1 hour later.
We got a fair bit to get through. Real quickly, some sad news, however.
Oh, no.
Ken Spears, who is the other co-creator of Scooby-Doo, passed away this year at the age of 82 due to complications related to Lewy body dementia.
Oh,
yeah.
Kay Titus is here. Hello,
hey,
from the Rising Sun, Japan. Hello, sir.
It's sad and bizarre that both Joe Ruby and Ken Spears died months apart from each other.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
Joe Ruby, we talked about in August. He passed away August 26th earlier this year, and now Ken Spears, both of the creators of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Sad times for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been writing some form of Scooby-Doo. They've been writing for Scooby-Doo pretty consistently. Not up to this iteration, but even if they weren't controlling it, they would still write a couple episodes for it.
Yeah, they were still contributors for most of their lives. I'm glad they gave us that show. They lived long lives, both of them, but it's still sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so some Disney news. Let's move it on to some Disney news, specifically Marvel Cinematic Universe first.
Time for the D.
Time. Yep.
Disney.
The Disney D.
So the Marvel Cinematic Universe had some news this week. The main thing was I don't want to do that bit. Whatever. Thor: Love and Thunder is gonna feature Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. So.
Yo, man, that thing's filming. Christian Bale is on set looking suave, and like, holy shit, it's real. He's gonna be a bad guy in this Thor movie. I can't
looking like a Minotaur, maybe.
Looking like maybe a Minotaur. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that they're picking up some of the Guardian of the Galaxy tie strains.
Yeah,
me too.
I'd have to wager that Thor's not going to be involved in Guardians 3 at all.
I have to imagine,
considering that Gunn recently said that his version has basically not changed.
Yeah,
and I'd imagine that Thor was not in that version before.
Yeah,
but who knows? But I'm glad that some amount of that chemistry, that connection from Endgame will carry on.
Yeah. That cat in the background, she's sad.
She's real mad at me.
Can't do anything about it. Sorry. Yeah, like Star-Lord's awesome, and like Chris Pratt can be really funny. Chris Pratt. So like
I'm all about seeing more of that energy of them playing at the very end. Like I'm the captain, and he's like, yes, of course, you're in charge.
And he's like, of course.
And Taika can make anybody funny. So like,
All right, so WandaVision had a major EW spread this week that didn't tell us the release date. However, the EW release date is December 2020, which was disproved when the new motion poster came out saying that the release date is now January 15th, 2021.
Woo!
Yep.
That's soon.
Which officially means 2020, a year with no MCU.
Yep.
Hey, man, a lot of people feel like they needed a break. So, like, good.
Like your break. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was one of them.
You go back in January 15th.
Yeah. You got 2 more months.
I was talking about it. I was talking about before. Like I felt the comic book movie fatigue pretty hard after Spider-Man: Far From Home. But by the time of a Black Widow being pushed the first time, I was ready to get back in.
Yeah.
So
like I don't feel like oversaturation of anything.
It was the 1-2 punch of having Endgame and Far From Home so close together. We talked about it before. That Far From Home should have been pushed to November.
That's just story stuff.
That definitely left me at a like. I don't need like I wasn't against like comic book or superhero movie, but I was definitely like I don't need another like Marvel lore dump for at least 6 months.
Oh yeah, no. Post after Endgame was a mistake, but like I do agree with that.
Yeah. But some other things came out for WandaVision. For example, we have a little bit of a synopsis from that EW spread. It says, set after Avengers Endgame, Scarlet Witch and Vision are living as a married couple in the suburban town of Westview, trying to hide their powers, but before long, their perfect world begins unraveling for reasons still unknown.
Well, I think we know why. It's the Scarlet Witch.
Maybe because Vision's dead?
Yeah. Scarlet Witch is doing some real shady reality shit that's messing the world up.
They also talked more about like how it's very sitcom inspired. This says the show is a love letter to the golden age of television. We're paying tribute and honoring all of these incredible shows and people came before us, but we're also trying to blaze new territory, said the showrunner. They also talked about how they went to Dick Van Dyke for advice. And the first episode was shot in front of a live studio audience.
That was the part I was like, that's real cool.
Yeah.
And that they went to Dick Van Dyke also, but the fact that they shot in front of a live audience is awesome.
We see some of that in the trailer, but it doesn't actually give us indication that it was actually like in front of an audience. There's like a laugh track part, but like, yeah, like that's dope as hell.
What's
that's
cool,
really cool.
What I think is cool about that is that like it's going to be filmed on their nice cameras, but it's going to have that we did this live energy.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really weird to watch.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about it.
I am too, man.
Ryan, you've read probably more Vision. You've definitely read more Vision than I have.
Well, I mean, like I've read Tom King's Vision, and then he's had like one miniseries from the '80s. So like I guess I've read.
Vision doesn't always have to have the Mind Stone, right?
No, the MCU connection to the stone is he doesn't have a reality gem or a gem in his head at all in the comics.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
he's just an android.
That's why I want to double check. I was like,
Yeah, so that's why we speculated before Avengers Endgame came out that he could be repaired without the Mind Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just a movie thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said that will also feature, even though it's 6 episodes, sitcom inspired, they will feature all the character development and action expected in an MCU story.
I'm assuming they're going to be like an hour long, or like 45 minutes to an hour or whatever. Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah, 2 months isn't that long. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Is there more stuff about like what's her name, Monica Rambeau, or what's her name,
Photon,
yeah, because like they're saying that she's gonna actually appear as a superhero in it.
Yeah, she's. They said that she's in it, but the EW article didn't explain much more. I think the rest came from just rumors and the rumor mill and things like that.
I have to say, like, I was excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I still am, but I do think it's worked out serendipitously in a better way that WandaVision will be the first show for the MCU. I think it makes a stronger statement of proving what they can do, and how much they're going to bend shit. Then I think like I think more people would be anticipating, but WandaVision with Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out first. And I think now Falcon and Winter Soldier will just be looked forward to like, oh man, it's going to be like that. I can't wait. And I think that's going to pay off.
Also, I think, again, not like for any indication of quality, but Falcon and Winter Soldier is a more kind of traditional thing where WandaVision this is a reality war.
It's going to get weird. It's going to show
weird.
Right. It's going to show how the Marvel budget applies. Whereas like Falcon and Winter Soldier will still have that, but like,
it's like another like Winter Soldier, which is dope as hell. But like, yo, give me that weird shit right now, and then they'll prove it can do anything. Yeah. Good time.
Very excited for WandaVision. Lilo and Stitch's live action film is apparently talking to John M. Chu, the director of Crazy Rich Asians, to direct the film.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
I mean, that movie's great. I'm sure it would work just as well as live action. You know, sweet.
Lilo and Stitch is one of the few where I feel like the live action is a really great idea. I think that there's a lot of play that you can do without just retreading that movie with the Lilo and Stitch story that can be done well and lovingly, and like it feels like there's a good reason to maybe do something weird and live actiony and be more culturally representative. Not that the animated film isn't. It's actually more culturally sensitive than a lot of others, but you can go for that even harder.
And then Darkwing Duck is getting a Disney Plus reboot from the producing partners of Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, James Weaver, and Alex McAtee, and the Point Break Pictures.
I didn't hear that part. That's awesome.
I didn't hear that part either.
That's cool. I love Darkwing Duck. Of all those shows, like that was it's like, he's like the Batman or whatever. Like that was fun as hell. Let's get dangerous.
Does this have anything to do with? Because I haven't heard how popular or how well received the Disney, or not Disney Plus, the DuckTales episode, because they did a DuckTales hour-long special with Darkwing Duck. Is this in response to how well that turned out, or just people, a whole bunch of us like me?
It's not explicitly said, but I have to imagine.
It's both, and frankly, they've been very clear that DuckTales is building a Duckiverse.
DuckTales,
like they're going to do whatever they want to do. They're making a full expansive show. Both Donald Duck and Goofy are frequent characters in DuckTales. Like they are expanding into whatever amount they want to explore the world that DuckTales established.
A lot of my comic book people on Twitter really like that show, and like that show, it has a huge audience, like bigger than I even anticipated. So like it makes sense that it's getting like
funny enough, I remember fondly watching DuckTales on like Toon Disney Channel when it was airing back in the 90s. But then when I heard about the new DuckTales, I actually really love the new DuckTales.
We talked about it.
I have talked about DuckTales.
No. I'm saying as a show, and Sparks and I, we watched a couple of the first episodes, and we talked about how great it looked, how great it was. Like it ended up being a very popular show.
I definitely retweeted a little while back that one of the funniest things I've seen related to DuckTales was this bit where there's a new character looking at at like Huey and Dewey, and they're feeding ducks bread.
Oh yeah,
ducks, and then that character just goes.
No, Oh, there was this other great joke in one of the episodes of DuckTales that I thought was just I can't remember what it was. I just remember loving it.
Yeah, it's just they've been able to do a lot with it. The animation is solid. That of the new launch like Disney made properties, not original things like Owl House or Gravity Falls, but things that are like Big Hero 6, Tangled, DuckTales, all coming out in this new wave of Disney television animation. DuckTales has found a massive fan base. Darkwing Duck is definitely spilling out of it.
Yeah, I remember what it was. It wasn't a joke, but it was a reference to the gummy bears that I lost my mind over.
But the show will be exclusive to Disney Plus. So
okay,
right.
All right. Some more news on the Suicide Squad. We thought we saw the whole cast. Apparently, we didn't.
What?
Sylvester Stallone has been added to the cast of the Suicide Squad.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Audience too. Yeah, of course. Makes sense. Hell yeah. So man, hey guys, Taika Waititi's still in that movie, and they still haven't confirmed who he is. And I'm 95% sure he's playing Starro. Like he's gonna be just a big stupid star man, and I'm so stoked for that movie, you guys. Oh my god.
People are saying that Sylvester Stallone could be voicing King Shark.
Oh.
Ooh.
See that? Like, yeah. What direction do you take King Shark? Because you have the video game coming out. It's going to be like the funny one. You have Harley Quinn. He's the funny one. Do you take it a hardcore direction?
I would.
I would. Don't turn him into Groot or like James Gunn knows what he's doing.
Definitely don't turn him into Apocalypse.
Yeah, you were going to say this.
Yeah, don't turn him into King Shark as a shark. And then he's like, it was an honor fighting with you. What?
Yeah, don't make him Groot.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think it's likely because he talked about the fact that he was just cast. Like this was not he was kept a secret and he was on film. Like he was just cast, which means it's really
a voice. Yeah,
he's a voice of something, and I think probably King Shark's voice.
That's awesome.
That'd be dope.
His natural will lean well into looking like it's coming out of the mouth of a shark.
Harley, like oh my god, it's gonna be great.
All right, so Peacemaker. We know that this
Peacemaker.
We know that the Peacemaker series is coming, a spin-off of Suicide Squad. New cast members have been announced. Danielle Brooks, who was in Orange is the New Black, has been cast as Leota Adebayo. Abadeo?
Yep.
I don't know.
It's fine.
Yeah. Robert Patrick, Terminator 2's own Robert Patrick, has been cast as Augie Smith. Jennifer Holland, who was actually in Brightburn, has been cast as Emilia Harcourt, reprising her role from the Suicide Squad. And then Chris Conrad has been cast as the DC superhero known as Vigilante.
Heck yeah.
A.k.a. Adrian Chase.
He was in the Arrow television show.
Yeah, he was.
I like that guy. I thought he was good.
That's dope. I'm all about it. I love it. I think Suicide Squad is finally going to bring like both sides of the it's only Snyder and the everything else that isn't Snyder is bad, and the people who are like no, but it's all good.
It seems like it's
together.
Let's be like its own thing. Just make a movie. Who cares about all these?
I feel like it'll just finally be the thing where people can go, we all agree this one is great.
Yeah.
And it'll just be nice for us all to be like, look, no matter what, we all agree we like that one.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Like whenever James Gunn was like gets asked questions all the time, like, "Whoa, was Kevin Feige on the set of the Suicide Squad?" I was like, "Oh yeah, he came down and said hi. He's my friend." And it was like, James Gunn is selling out the DCEU to Kevin Feige. He's stealing all the like. God, come on, people.
No, you can't. You hit mute on those people and you never see them again. It's very easy.
In the words of our president, come on, man.
Oh, good one. I like that.
Words of our president
elect. As much as I want it to be true, we gotta wait 2 months for that.
We have to wait till January. January 20th still. That's inauguration day, right?
Talking about the other guy.
What'd you say?
I said we gotta be specific because let's not pretend we're talking about the other guy.
You're right.
January 20th. That's inauguration day, right?
Yes.
Good days.
We'll explore the origins of the character that Cena will play in the upcoming film, a man who believes in peace at any cost, no matter how many people he has to kill to get it.
Oh Lord, he coming.
And Vigilante is like a mercenary hitman guy. So like, there we go.
Yeah,
one of those guys.
Oh Lord, he coming.
In the words of the immortal Ryan Eliopoulos, 2020 is weird.
Is it?
Because Peter Stormare said that a sequel to his Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves is coming.
Yeah. That dude says, yo, I got a script and we're making this movie. And he posted on his own Instagram a picture of him as Satan saying, I'm doing it again. And I'm just like, what? What?
Okay.
The further I get from it, the more I like it. Because it's just it's its own weird, cool thing. And I'm like
as an adaptation, it's bad.
No, it's a bad Constantine.
But as its own thing, it's good.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember because I have quick backstory. When I was in a film class,
never quick with you, baby.
Oh my god, you know it. When I was in a film class, we were talking about Constantine, and I mentioned about how the old Constantine, like the Constantine movie, was a bad adaptation of the comic book Constantine. It's like, yeah, we don't talk about those. I was like, well, what do you mean don't talk about those? And I said, because that's not John Constantine. This NBC one looks like Constantine. This one looks like true Constantine.
Like honestly, like if you take out the name Constantine, it's pretty good. And that's where I think Warner Brothers is coming from. I think Warner Brothers has seen its cult status now. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, let's just bring this back. But we're just like, no, wait, we don't want it as Constantine, though.
Bring back Angel Shia LaBeouf, you cowards.
Oh my god, he's at Chaz? Yeah.
That end credit scene was actually, I really was surprised when I finally saw that end credit scene. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, man, wild.
Yeah, that movie's just it's got a really slick look to it, and it's just like again, like the further we all get from it, like oh yeah, we find appreciation in it.
I think it's like
Jesus grenade launcher.
I think it's a cool over the top sci-fi demon exorcist film. Constantine is high up there, in like cool and stylish and inventive.
Yeah.
So
how many times?
All for having a sequel, and just don't want to at all.
Just
try to say it takes place in the same world as Wonder Woman. Just don't try to tell me that.
Just call it John. Just call it John.
It could be in the multiverse, but don't try to tell me it's the same world.
How many times have we done this?
Yeah, Everybody
cool.
brings the tattoo together.
It's cool.
Oh yeah. Oh no, Tilda Swinton as Gabriel the Angel.
Dude, that movie.
Oh my god, that movie's. I need to watch that movie again.
I need to watch that movie too. I remember.
That's great. Downright annoyed.
Ooh.
I would do that with you guys for sure.
I would do that one too. Bring me in on that action. I want in on that action.
Well, we could also do that as a commentary.
No.
The
other people for that one.
Hell, tell that to your downright annoyed people next time it's your pick. Say you get the whole crew together for that one.
You hearing this?
We're talking Keanu Reeves.
Hold up. Should I text him? Because you guys
get me that downright annoyed people now.
I can message them right now because I get their messages on my phone all the damn time.
We all do. All right. So some comic book news. I'll start with the good. Marie Javins has been announced as the new permanent editor-in-chief at DC Comics, replacing Bob Harris, who had it temporarily. This woman was the editor for Justice League, Snagglepuss, DC Superhero Girls, and the Dark Knight's Death Metal series, which is going on now. And basically, what that means is, hey, she'll be what's it called, shaping the line with Jim Lee for the 2021 season. So that's cool.
From everything I've seen online, because we all follow various comic book people.
Yeah.
This is stellar news for DC. Not only is this person respected in every capacity, and like she gets great books out, but like she helps discover talent, and like and she specifically, like Mark Russell, the guy who did the Flintstones, and he did like Prez, and now he's like blown up and he's on all stuff like he and her were like best buds, and like he did Snagglepuss and stuff like that. So like DC saw that like this, she's super talented and she knows how to handle people. Yeah. So this makes me really excited for the future of DC because she knows what she's doing. And she knows talent.
This news.
Just real quick. I think just in general, when we all saw this, we all felt like finally a sea change in the direction we wanted was happening at DC.
I think that this news also disproves Bleeding Cool's ridiculous report that DC is going to abandon the continuity in favor of an omniverse.
Listen, that just means that comics are going to come out and they're not going to be so intrinsically tied, kind of like how Marvel does it, or how DC could do it. Like it's not that. That's such. I'm so glad people don't like that article because that's such a stupid idea.
It's so stupid. Anyway, but yes, this is cool. This is what we've been asking for. The one thing I like DC's line, but the one thing that I keep talking about is like I want more diversity. I want more diversity.
That's all I scream. Yeah.
X-Men Legends. It's a new comic book series coming out in February.
Mm-hmm.
The first issue will be Fabian Nicieza.
Yeah, Nicieza.
And Brett Booth.
Yeah.
It will revolve around the third Summers Brother storyline from the run by Fabian. The series itself will be revisiting through classic writers their runs, going back and resolving plot threads or returning to those runs, featuring greats like Chris Claremont, Louis Simonson, Larry Hama, Peter David, and more.
This is super, super dope. Some artists aside, I really like this idea because, again, I talked about, and you're reading a Juggernaut, how I think Fabian Nicieza has, as being an older guy, has become a pretty decent like modern writer, if you know modern sensibilities. So I'm glad he gets to not only come back to the X-Men, but also gets to come back to his story from 25 years ago and get to continue the story while not interfering with what's happening on Krakoa, while also still being tied to it. I think it's dope. Brett Booth's kind of a shitty guy. He's not like, he doesn't murder anyone, but he just has some really bad opinions about women and Muslims.
The one issue too, so he's not back for the rest.
One issue, yeah. So like, I'm not. It's not breaking my bank or anything, but like, Marvel, you could be better about this. You know who you're hiring.
Yeah. It's just a bummer when you've got all of this like strong representation of like diverse and positive beliefs in the X-Men writers, and then you get it happened. It's one issue, thank God.
As far as a podcast goes, we've been pretty critical of Jeff Johns. I would say averagely in recent years. Jeff Johns is going to go the indie route with, I believe, his first ever indie comic.
Nope.
No.
It's his first indie comic in 15 years, which is basically like saying his first indie comic.
Okay, so all the articles I read have forgotten about that book then.
Every article I've read has been specifically stating it's been 15 years since he's done his own thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a small book that like no one really cares about. Like I've never read it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank will be going indie this coming 2021 season with an independent comic called Geiger. The solicitation for this book says, "Who are the scavengers of a dying Earth? Geiger is set in the years since nuclear war ravaged the planet. Desperate outlaws battle for survival in a world of radioactive chaos. Out past the poisoned wasteland lives a man who even the nightingales and Oregon people fear. Some name him John Glow, others call him the Meltdown Man, but his name is Geiger," out in April. Sounds all right.
So, like, I'm critical of Jeff Johns as a person. His writing, like, I just haven't liked that. The last two books, not Shazam, people like Shazam, but the last two big books he's put out have just been Alan Moore sequels. And for me, that's not what I want from Jeff Johns. I'm the most critical of his podcast, but it's not like I picked the Jeff Johns book club like a couple months ago with the Legion of Superheroes. I don't dislike his writing. I love his Green Lantern run. I just think his choices of the last 5 years have been really bad. This sounds insanely generic. As someone who reads lots of independent post-apocalyptic stories, there is literally nothing here that's original or like Noctera is a post-apocalyptic story from Scott Snyder coming out. That's all about dealing with apocalypse and light and monsters. I have no problems with him doing an independent book. Gary Frank's one of the greatest artists of our generation. This sounds really boring. Like there's nothing. It's just it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Where's the intrigue? I just want to know more about it because Gary Frank's dope, but it just sounds like a straight-to-DVD apocalypse movie, you know?
I think as probably the least critical of Jeff Johns on this podcast, I actually agree with you.
And I want him to do like bigger stuff, and like this doesn't seem like he can. He's so much bigger than this. It seems like.
Yeah, he definitely is. And actually, the thing that turned me off was when he said, "I want to go back to kind of the storytelling of '90s Image," and I'm like, I don't think I want you to do that. And
specifically as someone who's like, I would like Jeff Johns to get away from some of the things he's doing. Going directly back to 90s Image is extremely machismo, big belt buckles. That's like that's the image nobody likes anymore.
Yeah,
that's the Todd McFarlane like that's and like Wildcats and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what people want, man.
I feel like some of what's happened with Jeff Johns at DC, without being involved in the system, is reactionary to confines of what has been happening corporately. Mm-hmm. We know that Doomsday Clock was and Rebirth as a whole was meant to be spearheaded and handled differently, and that definitely didn't happen. And even looking past that and just other things in his recent works, I think there's just a lot of like, if I were to gauge like the best way to sum it up, there's a part of me that feels like Johns has had one hand tied behind his back the whole time.
Yeah.
Through the last parts of his career at DC. And I think that that's created an idea of, I want to get back to roots of things. Mm-hmm. And I really like the idea of him breaking free of that and getting to do whatever he wants. But I also echo, this just doesn't sound like an intriguing version of that.
Yeah.
It almost, unfortunately to me, feels like something I think we brought up a while back, that when Johns stopped doing stuff at DC, he should take like a year and just kind of reassess what he wants to do in comics. Spend a lot more time reading and consuming other material and seeing what's out there, and then reassess maybe where he wants to be. Yeah. And this just doesn't feel like that. This feels like I want to find a groove I used to like, and I'm just going to dive at that really hard. And I don't know if I want to go along for that ride.
Yeah, I agree.
Ben, anything?
I used to love Jeff Johns. Oh, okay, no, not used to. I still do love Jeff Johns' work. He has written some great things. Brandon was the one who got me onto him, mostly for his Green Lantern run. And I have to say, I still really dig his Justice League run for the New 52. I thought it was great. And of course, his first Aquaman run was fantastic. But I feel that as good as Jeff Johns as writer is, he has been slipping the past few years. I just read issue 2 of 3 Jokers the other day when I was playing my cardigan service. And it was, I don't know. I don't know what I felt after I finished reading it. I was like, there are parts of it that were really good, but there are other parts of it's like, did you really have to put that in there? Like, you've read all.
Well, I think Sparks is absolutely correct. Like he feels like a writer who's been writing with one hand behind his back.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with Brandon. 1990s Image isn't somewhere I feel like you should go, but I mean, he's writing an indie book. He has full control of it, which is good. I mean, I love Gary Frank, and I really like Doomsday Clock.
We can only hope that maybe it evolves into something more.
Maybe it does, and I hope it does. So I don't want to be sounding like that hipster who's like, oh, I prefer the earlier work. The early days are the better. The modern stuff sucks.
No problem liking the early stuff.
No, there's no problem liking the other stuff, but saying that the other stuff is the only good stuff is kind of like, okay, there's some good stuff here. Doomsday Clock, I feel, is one of those gems.
I agree. All right. Umbrella Academy, guys. We all liked Umbrella Academy, right? It was a good show.
Yes, we did.
Sure did.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was canceled after season 2, I'm afraid.
That's a lie. Bold-faced lies.
It has been renewed. It's been renewed for a 3rd season. Real quickly, Comic Book G-Stop says, hello, my fellow nerd. Just finished Wayne. So good, over-the-top, violent, and graphic. But put so good.
It's an OG. Original graphic.
Nice.
So, yes, Umbrella Academy coming for season 3.
Fun fact. The actor who plays Diego, I just found out this week because my school let me know, is a CSUF alum.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I could tell that to Fanny because she's also a CSUF alum.
Oh, Diego, go.
That's great. I'm super happy about Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. Going to the weird future past.
The alternate
future.
The Sparrow Academy.
Yes.
Alternate present?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bloodshot. Bloodshot.
No.
The sequel to Bloodshot is coming.
I don't believe you.
They're threatening us with the sequel to Bloodshot.
Wait, wasn't that the last movie you saw in 2020, Brandon?
In theaters.
In theaters. It's not the last movie I saw in the year.
No. That's why I meant in theaters.
Movie in 7 months.
Yes, it is the last movie I saw in theaters.
I didn't think Bloodshot was terrible. I thought it was like, it's fine. Like if you're bored on a Sunday and it's on HBO for free to watch it, right? I didn't think it made that much money, did it? Or because of the pandemic, it made money?
It made money on VOD because of the pandemic.
Got it.
I
Okay.
think it makes sense. Also lower budget. Then it looked better than the budget it had would have made you believe.
Yeah,
they used that budget very well. I'll say that about that movie.
And I think I liked all those special effects for the most part, I think.
I did too, and I feel like there was a story there that could have gone. We did a review.
We did.
But I feel like that there's a well there where they could have gone harder on some stuff, and they just didn't.
I would just rather than maybe just like make another Valiant movie than focus on a Vin Diesel Bloodshot movie.
Yeah, like have him in it, but have it be about a different one of the characters.
They can't because the rights are owned by different companies.
Oh, there you go.
That's the thing that pisses me off, that the main Valiant guy can't be in the Valiant universe movies.
Yeah.
That's great.
A Quiet Place is getting a spin-off.
Oh.
John Krasinski's A Quiet Place is going to expand out and include a new spin-off written
Cloverfield.
Written and directed by Jeff Nichols, based on an idea by John Krasinski.
Hey, so is Quiet Place.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, we reviewed A Quiet Place Part 2. You can find it on the podcast.
Yeah, you can.
So, like,
one of the only people who saw it.
They got those laser cannons. They got to get that from a sequel.
That big Kamehameha looking thing.
Yeah. Didn't Jeff Nichols is like a very, I'm pretty sure it's the guy I'm thinking of. He's like a very interesting filmmaker who doesn't make like a lot of movies. So if it's the same guy I'm thinking of, then the idea must be good enough for him to be like, yeah, I'm coming back to make this.
So they weren't clear in the language, but I assume that this is what we were talking about. We wanted with A Quiet Place Part 2 to begin with,
like different people
in a different setting with the same story happening. And I'm all about that. I think there's a lot of different ways you can tell this particular species invading Earth.
Anthology
in good stories. Yes, exactly. Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Yeah.
I think that's great. I'm all about it. I can't 100% judge until we truly see A Quiet Place Part 2.
So what's crazy, this guy has made 3 movies and they're all like Academy nominated movies. So like, what the hell is this movie where this guy's like, yeah, I want to make that movie. I'm like, what? You just made like a civil rights 1960s drama, the last movie you made. I'm like, all right, cool. Make A Quiet Place 3, whatever, whatever it is.
Ben?
No.
Cool.
All right. Fantastic Beasts has some news.
Did we leave them behind? Did we lose them?
Did we find them?
I don't want to find them anymore.
Oh, the Beasts.
We got it.
I thought you were talking about us. I was like, oh my God, did you lose us?
Oh, no.
Right. Fantastic Beasts 3, we heard last week that Johnny Depp was asked to leave the role. We now know some new bits of information about that. Johnny Depp is going to receive his full salary for the movie.
Billions of dollars.
No longer in it.
Good job, Johnny.
Apparently, J.K. Rowling did not push back on the decision to let him go.
She wrote the script. She's done with it. Who cares?
I still stand by what I said last week.
Yeah.
Yep, line the bed you made.
Colin Farrell is not available because of the Batman.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But they're looking at Mads Mikkelsen.
I'm so mad.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm so mad.
God, I
to
love
replace
you, Matt.
Grindelwald.
I love Mads Mikkelsen so much.
So here's the thing.
Oh, no.
If Colin Farrell had come back, I wouldn't and people still said, yeah, Fantastic Beasts still kind of a drag to go to the theaters for. I'd be like, you know what? I'll watch it when it comes home.
Yeah.
If Mads Mikkelsen is in it, I'm going to have a hard time, even if they're telling me that it's bad, to not go see it because I like him so damn much.
Dude. Oh, man.
Real quickly, Comic Book G-Stop says they are bringing a Hellraisers. Yes, we know about the Hellraisers.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Last week, yes.
Last week, okay.
Yep.
I'm mad about it.
I
don't want Matt to be in it because I feel like Fantastic Beasts is a... Yes, I agree with you, which is story, and they never should have gotten rid of Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Although I'm really happy he's in the Batman as the Penguin. If Mads is in it, I don't know what to do.
This is the one.
I don't want him to board this sinking ship.
This is the one that has a co-writer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm already like 10%, just only 10% better with that. But with Mads, I'm like 450% on it. So like, because I just love that dude's so good in literally any movie he's in.
I believe him more as Grindelwald than I did Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and he would have that. Ooh, he'd actually look good with it too.
I mean, I agree with all of these points. It's just
it's hard. I know.
I don't know how you clean up the mess that was the end of Crimes of Grindelwald.
You get another writer to fix it.
So when I saw this news, I'm actually really excited about this. I'm actually really, I'm stoked. I'm actually, because at first I'm like, Fantastic Beasts 3, I don't care. I hated the second one. I don't want to ever see, I don't want to step in that world. Mads Mikkelsen, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing, though, is that's why I'm mad because that would make me excited.
Yeah.
Back in.
It's like,
to go give J.K. Rowling money at the movie theater.
I feel like John Wick. Like I was out and they're just pulling me back in. Yeah, I think I'm in.
I was done. I left it. It was dead.
It's amazing how just like one piece of news would be like, wow, I guess I'll see that movie now.
No, watch. So we go into Fantastic Beasts like, yeah, I'm not gonna be huge into Harry Potter again. We walk out there, we're all in wizards robes. We have wands. It's like, I guess I'm back in.
That movie won't be a miracle. Man.
Yeah, it's not gonna do that.
Right. Man. Speaking of, they keep pulling me back in. The Rock is developing a reboot of the Scorpion King.
Pulling me back in so hard.
There's one gif of the Rock in the Scorpion King where he's like, "Ooh, yes."
Yeah.
This is coming after only 2 years since the last Scorpion King movie. Great. Scorpion King 4: Book of Souls.
Yep.
Four of those.
Randy Couture, the MMA wrestler, I believe.
Yes, comic book spot. Really.
Yep. Listen, I like The Rock a lot. Like, if he thinks he can make this into a fun movie, like that first movie is like passable, it's fine. If he thinks he can make it work, whatever.
Go for it.
Whatever.
The Scorpion. For those of you who don't know, the Scorpion King franchise started as a spin-off of The Mummy, a spin-off prequel of The Mummy, and then it got 3 direct-to-DVD sequels, each time replacing the actor who played the Scorpion King, each time being a prequel to the last.
I keep wanting to make like a video series on all those movies because I saw the first one on DVD and it's real bad, and I'm like, oh, 2 more.
We got to do it someday.
Okay, Ryan, refresh my memory. Is that the one where the Scorpion King is in love with that one lady where she has the scene with the jars and the snake?
Bro, that's all the movies.
That's all the movies. Shit.
So the Scorpion King, The Rock talked about it. This is how I know it's real because The Rock actually released a statement saying like the Scorpion King was my first role on the silver screen. I'm super passionate about the character. I want to bring him back to now that he's got his own production company. He's producing his own movies. This was like a priority for him to come back. Jonathan Herman, who wrote the script for Straight Outta Compton, is writing this film.
Yo, my dream is that you find a way to just like make this incredible new Scorpion King movie, and everyone's like, you know what? Just get Brendan Fraser. Let's make another Mummy Scorpion King showdown. End that series the way it should have been. Get Rachel Weisz back in here. What she said? No, give her more money. I don't care.
Just
do it right.
You know what? It's the Rock's production company. He can give the money.
Yeah,
he can get that money.
So The Rock will not be in it. They want to be clear. The Rock is not going to be in it. He is not going to be the Scorpion King again. They will replace him. Mag, not MCG, says, please no CGI Scorpion monster. Well.
Before that.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
It's before that.
Prequel.
So very cool. All right, Halo.
Love it.
I love it.
Halo has replaced the actress who played Cortana in the new Showtime live-action series with the voice actor Jen Taylor, who was Cortana in the games.
That just makes sense.
Yeah.
It's cool that this is happening, but I'm surprised that like they just didn't do this from the beginning.
Right.
Because
the reason why is because they wanted Cortana and Halsey, her creator, to be played by the same person, like they are in Reach.
That actually does make sense.
Right. So Natasha McElhone, who was cast as Halsey and Cortana in the series, will only play Halsey now because the COVID schedule does not allow her to play Cortana as well.
Okay, so
Which historian
says WTF?
Yes. Yeah. I forgot the whole Halsey, like this is a prequel thing, so it would make sense for them to be same person, the same voice. But I mean, it's cool for the video game people. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's not gonna ruin my suspension of this Halo video universe.
You know what's funny? Because when you broke the news, I was like, they weren't the same voice actors. I was
the idea. I get the idea, and I like the idea. It's from Reach. Is the fact that they created each other. Halsey created Cortana in her image, so it made sense in the games for them to be voiced by the same actress. You can still make the character of Cortana look like the actress playing Halsey. You still do that, just have a different voice.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. And which historian says
this is a good thing.
It's a good thing. And Comic Book G Spot says, "Good stuff, gentlemen. Thank you."
the guy playing Master Chief was like just on set. There's like seen on set because like they're doing like reshoots or like backup shots or something. I'm like,
No, they're filming it because they had to
they're
stop filming
filming
with COVID.
I'm like, Halo's happening. It's like 10 years of production. Like Peter Jackson was gonna do it. Like
Spielberg.
Halo's happening.
Blomkamp.
Blomkamp. Oh,
I remember people saying Jamie Foxx was going to play Master Chief. I remember that was a rumor for a
I
while.
can't see that.
I don't remember that one.
I remember something about Jamie Foxx.
That doesn't even make sense. Why would you ever change the voice of Master Chief?
That's a good point. Why
That is
would
a very
you?
good point.
He never takes off his helmet.
Yeah, that doesn't. Even the live action Halo things they have already like done with the.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah. The thing with Mike Coulter.
Yeah.
They have him. There's a live person, and then it's the voice. Like I don't get it.
Movies and TV are weird, man. I don't know.
All right.
The only time you should see John is when John's a little boy.
Yep.
Finish the fight. No, I can't.
All right, trailers.
Woo!
We did the trailers.
Woo!
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion special where I finally realized that Will Smith is losing his mind.
Oh, Brandon, you're not on YouTube enough. That man lost his mind years ago.
You didn't watch Shark Week this year.
No, I didn't.
That dude, he's become like a YouTube phenomenon just because he's Will Smith. But when you become that rich, you just lose a little bit. But like, he still seems to be a good person, so I'm not too mad about it.
Right.
He's not like some other bad celebrities.
But yeah, he posted the thing being like, "You guys are not ready for this trailer. Happy Thanksgiving." I'm like, "It's not Thanksgiving, dude."
Not yet.
But yeah, it looks good. There's a reunion special where they talk about how cool Fresh Prince was.
Yeah, I talked to him about it. Like, I grew up watching it. I never watched it from like its entirety or anything, but I watched it like every night it was on. So just episode and stuff. But this actually looks really good. Like, it looks really heartfelt. And, like, everyone seems to actually care about each other, and like they're getting both the moms in there, and that's like, ooh, the drama. Like, it just seems fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely more pumped for this than the Friends reunion special.
Yeah. My company was working on.
Yeah, I'm just about to say, screw Friends reunion. I'm going Bel-Air all the way.
I didn't know we had to pick sides.
I mean,
Don't make me choose, Jacob. It's more just like this is basically like what that Friends reunion special when it comes out is going to look like, and I'm way more interested in all of these. Haven't been in the spotlight ever since Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like most of them, you don't get seen or talked about much anymore. Sharing their memories, sharing their like it truly feels like revisiting these faces. I've seen Courtney Cox and Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston in all the years since after Friends ended. I know they're around. I know what they're up to. I know how they feel about Friends because they still get asked about it all the time, which isn't their fault.
Fresh Prince. They're going to talk about Uncle Phil.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, seeing all of them come back together feels more like revisiting the old, revisiting like with people you don't get to see talk about it and that kind of thing, and that feels way more special and engaged, which is why I think this one looks really good. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right. The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse.
Oh boy.
Those Mickey Mouse shorts are incredible. This is the same animation, same team, same all that. I don't know because no one specified if this show is going to like be a consistent runtime. The shorts are kind of all over the place. They can be 4 minutes, they can be 12 minutes, they can be 9 minutes.
Just like The Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know like what the point of the shift really is yet from the Mickey Mouse show, which has been running of shorts. There's 5 seasons of it to The Wonderful World of Disney, but I'm all about still watching this animation and stuff. I love this interpretation of the Mickey Mouse characters.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And all of those shorts have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just glad the shorts are coming to Disney Plus so I can watch them.
It's a Disney Plus original.
All the Mickey Mouse shorts are already there. This is the new show. Yes, all the Mickey Mouse shorts are on Disney Plus right now. This is the new show that is now like the new version of that taking over, which is why I think that supposedly I think that they're going for something less short form storytelling, that they're going to be telling longer things, more narrative driven.
Like serialized?
Yes, that's what I think the point is, but nobody said that. So,
all right. In my defense, I saw this trailer I wasn't really paying attention because stuff.
Oh, is that what they're calling it these days?
Moving. Is
that what they're calling it these days?
You're just like watching a trailer moving a box at the same time.
Right. And then finally, Adventure Time Distant Lands Obsidian. This is the second Adventure Lands Adventure Time Distant Lands.
Adventureland.
What do you call them? Like special? They're specials.
Yeah, I call them that.
This is the Marceline and Bubblegum one taking place after the series. Not to spoil the first special. Going to the new kingdom of the Glass Kingdom. Looks good. I'm excited. Coming out November 19th. We got the date for this one.
4 days?
Yeah.
Hot dog. I haven't finished Adventure Time, but I sure do love those characters as well. So like, I think I'm probably gonna watch this one.
It's really nice because they didn't like 100% go in on Marceline and Princess Bubblegum being a couple until the very last episode of Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all the pieces were there, but like they didn't really go for it until that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's going to be a thing where they're clearly going to go for it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's actually one of the things I like about, because sometimes when you get some of these shows like these, like this is what happens after shows, they don't really focus on the things you want about, or the characters you want about, i.e. Two characters that end up in a relationship. They just kind of gloss that over, and they're like, yeah, they're happy, they're fine, whatever. It's like, no, but I want to see that.
I was sorry, Bennett. Continue.
No, because seeing this trailer, because I actually am curious about Bubblegum and Marceline's relationship after the finale, and this looks like this is a looking trailer live. So
y'all should finish the show, because the bit where Bubblegum shoots a bunch of candy out of her hand is going to make a whole lot more sense if you do.
All right, I'll watch all 500 episodes right now.
She is the candy elemental, and that's her power.
Well, look, I don't have to watch it. You just explained it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I think the songs sound really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna be really solid.
Yeah.
I think Mag did bring up a good point about Wonderful World of Disney.
Mickey Mouse. Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse.
Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse. Thank you. The Minnie Mouse voice actress, because we talked about it before, the original voice actress, she passed away. Not the original, but the one who'd been doing it for 30 years. She passed away. So she was doing the voice for the short. She's being replaced for the show.
Okay. I'm really excited for Adventure Time Distant Lands, Obsidian, as I said. I talked to Sparks. We were talking. We may start to do something for Adventure Time Distant Lands. We'll see. Stay tuned if something happens there. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. That's all the trailers. Leaving the trailer park.
Yeah.
Backing her up.
Anything else you guys want to bring up before we move on to our topic?
Yeah, what was the bullshit trailer we watched before this?
Breach.
It was called Breach?
Yep.
So there was a new Bruce Willis movie called Breach, and I didn't plan on talking about it, but I was like, oh, there's a new Bruce Willis movie. Let's watch the trailer for it. And it's a ripoff of Alien in space, and it just looks not great.
I didn't see it.
No, I didn't. I don't want you to see it.
Oh yeah.
We specifically didn't tell you about it for a reason.
Bruce Willis.
So remember a few weeks ago when where people were saying Die Hard's coming back, but it was an ad for Die Hard car batteries.
Yes, I remember.
I forgot to mention this when I finally saw that commercial. It was playing during one of the Dodger games, and God, that was horrible.
I saw it at work, and I was excited for a second, and I was like, oh no, I'm a fool.
As we were watching the Breach trailer, that is the moment where I was sitting with Ryan, and I'm like, have we reached the point where it's really bad that I would think this movie looked more appealing if Bruce Willis wasn't in it? That's have more faith in it to be good.
That's the conversation that led us into joining the call with you guys, talking about Bruce Willis.
Wow.
Okay. So that's it. So this week, the PlayStation 5 was released. You may have heard of it. It's kind of big. Oh, but it's the Xbox
Series X. I don't know what it's called. The new Xbox is also out, baby.
Yep.
It is out. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure. I thought they were staggering the release. Like
both out. Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. So the new consoles are out. So we were talking. So I'll have Ben jump in a second.
Yeah.
In a second. So we're going to talk about essentially the last generation of games as we approach the new one. But Ben, it is your topic discussion. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. So you actually kicked us off pretty well. The new consoles came out. The PS5.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Go ahead.
So I thought it would be fun to talk about all four of our experiences with this console generation, the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, because it did come out this generation, as Ryan reminded me. And I actually we'll get to this we can get to it when we're winding down the talk, but I created my own personal top 10 list of the best games of the generation with some honorable mentions and with one bummer. But the thing I want to get right off the bat is this past generation with the PS4 and the Xbox One, it was an amazing generation for video games as a whole. Not just because obviously I feel like every generation is like, oh my god, this is the best generation. I don't think I've felt this giddy going into a generation since the PlayStation 2 era. Mm-hmm. Like just being excited and just like looking back at games, because this is the generation I fell back into gaming. I fell back in love with video games, and dear God, the games that we got this generation were amazing. Ryan, because you've been playing a lot, you've also a lot of PC games came out. I'm a console player as of now. What are things on your end? How did you like this generation?
Well, first, I would like to say this is the first generation where we were all adults who probably purchased our own consoles. So this is the first generation where we had, our own access to play as many games as we personally wanted to. We weren't limited by being young or a teenager or Christmas gifts. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think every person at our age will probably think like the generation they're in is the best one because it's the most access they've ever had to video games, right? Yeah. Like growing up, like I did not have this many video games to play because I grew up poor, right? I got what I got. So I think for me, this is the best generation because I've never played more games in my entire life because I'm a grown adult.
You know what?
If I may interject on that, yeah. This is actually the generation that I fell out of gaming. Mm. So this is going to be a difficult topic for me. I do want to talk about it because I did play games towards it, but this was I got my first job. I was in my first long-term relationship, broke that off, got my second job, worked in 4 jobs. I didn't find a lot of time to play video games. And so a lot of this generation just flew over my head in the early years through at the end of college, and my depressive haze that I'm still in. I still played some, but it was mostly at the tail end of the generation. Mm-hmm. I began to feel like I was cheated a bit. And I skipped the Xbox One completely. I haven't touched my Xbox One since I finished Halo 5, and that was years ago.
Oh, what a one to finish on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, to comment on that, I completely understand what you get, because one of the things that I do love about this generation is accessibility. Like with Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus memberships, you get free games. So many games are coming out for free, but I do have to agree because this is the generation where we became adults, and I could not play everything I want to play. I still haven't played everything I want to play. There are still games on my PS4 that I bought digitally for amazing prices that I haven't even touched yet because
I'll get you Shadow of Mordor.
The Witcher 3.
I did get Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor was for free on PlayStation Plus. I downloaded it. And Ryan whispered the biggest culprit, or not the biggest culprit I haven't touched yet, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, because I know that's 100+ hour game. And unfortunately, I haven't touched it yet. But I feel like the games I was able to play are the best generation. But that's the thing about adults. You have to find the time, and it sucks when you do. Finding the time, budgeting it is a pain in the ass, but the second you're able to go through with it is awesome.
Bouncing off what you said, Ben, this is the generation where I discovered and made peace with the fact that I will never play all the games I want to play. Mm-hmm. It'll never happen. Mm-hmm. No matter what I do, it will never, ever happen.
Yeah.
Some things are just never going to get touched or never going to get finished, and I have to make peace with that.
Yeah.
And this generation made that very, very clear.
Mm-hmm. So I was trying to find. So the generation literally just ended. Like the new consoles literally just came out. So the articles that I'm looking for haven't been written yet. But I wanted to find what did the last generation, what was the legacy, or what was the last generation, what brought to the table that we will see in the new generation, right? And I couldn't find any articles for that, but I did find some older articles that I think kind of help. These are from 2 or 3 years ago, but some of the things that just this generation did really well are the rise of indie games. Indie games have obviously been around since the dawn of time. People can make games whenever they want, but to get to the delivery system of more people with more internet capacities and better systems, stuff like that. Smaller games have never been played more often. Like Ben, you and I, and even you, Sparks, love to play small games. Pains or Paladins, Blasphemous, Cuphead, stuff like that.
Oxenfree.
Oxenfree.
This is a fantastic point, and when I was making the list, I'm like, I do want to really talk about indie games, but there's no time to talk about like individual indie games, really, because this part of what I was just saying about this generation, indie games are some of my favorite things because they're unique, they're very flavorful, I think is the word I want to use. And I can put the time in and finish them.
They're often bite-sized.
They're usually much smaller, and honestly, that works for me. And I'm able to play many, many more of them. And I feel like the accessibility for them is off the charts. And so indie games have been some of the biggest things out of this generation that I'm so happy for.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I remember when Cuphead was just even announced at E3. And just the fact that because Cuphead is an indie game, but also the fact that it's an indie game that I feel accelerated to AAA status.
Yeah.
And just because of its art style and B, its difficulty level. It became a cult. It went from a cult thing to now it's a mainstream thing. And I am so happy for Studio MH. What's the studio name? God. MH. It's damn it.
If you don't have it readily available, you can't.
Yeah, but that's the studio that made Cuphead, which, if I'm remembering correctly, it was only 2 people who hand drew and animated the entire thing by hand. And apparently we are getting a sequel. We're even getting a show on Netflix for it. Yeah.
Studio MDHR.
MDHR. I knew there was an H and an R and an M in there somewhere.
I knew all the letters were there. I just didn't know how they went.
I was missing one. I was missing the D.
Yeah, so I think all will have lists.
Shut up, Sparks. I know when I said shut up. Don't change it.
Oh.
God,
all right, I think we all have lists of kind of games.
30 years old and suddenly missing the D. I feel aging is hard.
I hate it. I am, man.
Are you missing your own D or someone else's D?
I'm not gonna entertain that answer. I'm not gonna entertain
the Nintendo DS.
There you go.
The Nintendo 3DS, because that died this year.
It sure did.
That passed away with the. I mean, we knew it was coming ever since 2017 or 2016 with the announcement of the Nintendo Switch.
How do we want to do our list?
Real quick, now that the Switch Lite is out, Ben, you can pretty much guarantee that Nintendo was not going to be releasing a new console. Like, no joke, maybe for the next 5 years, they'll just keep updating Switch.
No,
because they created like the perfect video game system, like in my opinion,
especially for them.
Yeah.
Oh, completely. Like, I know we're talking a lot about PlayStation and Xbox, like because there's big three. There's the big three: Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. But Nintendo's been around since the 80s. There's a reason they stuck around this long.
They also do whatever they want. They do. Microsoft and Sony are often like fighting, doing the same stuff. Nintendo has always done their own thing, for better or worse.
Yeah.
Whereas, because we were talking about indie games, I feel Nintendo, especially with the Switch, has become the indie darling. Because Ryan, you mentioned earlier, I mentioned it on past shows, Panzer Paladin. It's one of my favorite games of this year. It's definitely going to be on one of my top 10 of the year, and it's only available on 2 platforms: the PC on Steam and the Nintendo Switch. Nowhere else.
Same with Hades. Hades is like one of the best games of the year. It's Switch and PC.
Now, I do want to, because this is a good segue for that. What you're talking about, yes, it is an indie darling. Microsoft got real smart.
Oh, they did. Oh, God, yeah.
Which gives you things for your PC and your Xbox. And they have also embraced indie gaming in a hard way.
Yeah.
This has given them such an incredible edge. And Xbox has really changed in the past 2 years the dynamic of console gaming.
Yeah.
Oh, they totally have.
We've talked about it like since we've both gotten Game Pass, and the more they've added, like they just added the EA game stuff, so EA Play, which is their own EA separate subscription service, is now bundled into the Game Pass. So you have all of those EA games like Battlefield and Mass Effect and Need for Speed all for free, and it's just because Xbox wants you to
all
play
for
games.
your subscription.
Yes,
price.
of course. Yes,
and like nothing struck Ryan and I harder than, even though we haven't started it, Gears 5. When Gears 5 came out on Game Pass on launch day, and it's like, if you were getting the subscription, here you go. Here's this AAA title you can just play right now.
Yeah.
Changed everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Nintendo, they're still kind of iffy with their AAA titles, but the fact that a AAA title like Gears of War is on Game Pass that day one, just huge step forward for Microsoft and Xbox.
Yeah.
And I will say what this generation really established in gaming is Xbox and PlayStation really reached out for online and multiplayer, and they branched out to that hardcore. And biggest flaw.
It is
still online.
Oh no, I will completely agree with you because I just watched the new Nintendo Switch Christmas commercial that they have during the holidays. It's a really cute commercial, a huge boost for the LGBTQ community because it showcases a gay couple, and they bought their nieces and nephews a Nintendo Switch. The thing is that
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. But here's the thing: the commercial broadcasts one giant problem with Nintendo, and you're right, Sparks. That is its online capabilities, because they're using their own cell phones to talk, and Nintendo has a Nintendo Switch app which has the exact same push to talk, or not push to talk, but it's like call your friend through the Switch app and they'll answer, or do what I did back with my Nintendo Wii when I was playing Mario Kart Wii with Adam, just call him up, put him on speakerphone, and we just talk through there. There's no true voice chat, there's no true headset support, and it pisses me off. Whereas you have Microsoft, Nintendo, of course, PC, they're all fine. They have that locked down. They know what they're doing. Whereas Nintendo, it's like they're amazing innovators in other fields, but they keep bumbling along with things that other people want.
At the end of the day, Nintendo has always been about making games.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that is what they care about. Mm-hmm. They don't care about if you and your friend can talk online. That's not why they're there. They're there to sell you a video game. For some reason, I don't know why, Nintendo is they're very forward thinking and a lot of innovation, but they're very backward thinking in terms of forward innovation, like what Xbox and PlayStation are doing. Mm-hmm. Like just getting online stuff now for the Switch. PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox 20 years ago could do this. Like they are so behind in some aspects. It's almost baffling. They just don't care because they still sell. Mario sells more than any other game ever made because it's Mario, and you don't need to talk to your friend. Like they don't care about it, which sucks for us who are multiplayer fans. I mean, that's why on the Xbox or PlayStation. Yeah.
So I know Xbox is doing amazing with their Game Pass, but one thing I do want to give Nintendo a round of applause for is, I mean, yes, it is a Nintendo Switch online thing, but it's their accessibility to their older games, the NES and the SNES archives, essentially, where you can play these old games, which some of them are very hard to find physical copies of on your HD TV with no problems. It's perfect emulation. As long as you have a subscription, you can play these amazing games, and the best part is they keep adding games.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing that they do. For sure.
Especially for a huge retro nerd like me, it's like, cool. Do I just play this for free on my Switch?
Ben. I'm sorry, Ben. I'll have to correct you, especially for a huge nostalgia bitch like you.
Okay. As someone who loves, who is a nostalgia bitch, I'm having access to these games, especially these games where looking online and looking and find a physical cart of, like, say, Super Metroid or a complete cart of Super Mario Kart be in the 50s or hundreds of dollars, whereas I could just play this from my Switch, like, right now. And the emulation is really damn good. The only one thing I will say is, like, Nintendo is the king of handhelds. Put the handheld stuff up on there. Put the Game Boy up there. Put the Game Boy Advance up there. Give me access to Metroid Fusion. God damn it. You've done it before.
I mean, it's a good point, and it sits well with the big detriment of Sony right now, and what Microsoft has also done well in contrast to them is the embracement of people want to play their old games on your new consoles. They don't want to have to keep 4 consoles in good condition lying around and hunt down or keep and maintain all the physical copies of the old games. They're like, please just make them
hope for a remaster of those games.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're like, I still have my copies, Xbox 360 copies of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. I can play them on my Xbox One. I can play them on an Xbox Series X. That's fantastic.
And it'll look better.
Like, that's how Sony is still so resistant to making things from the PS1 and PS2 era available.
Yeah.
Baffles me.
That's been, real quick, Ben, that's always been, now that we're at this generation, you can see the clear divide of PlayStation is, we are a generational device. You buy a PS5, you pay PS5 games. If you want to play the old games, either wait for the remaster or play it on the old console. That's how it's always worked. But Xbox is like, but why? Why does it have to be that way?
Yeah.
And it's something of like, no one ever thought about it before, they just did it. And it's just it's like, oh, they're just doing the Apple model. We're like, you can have the phone from 5 years ago or the phone now. It's basically the same. It just won't look as good. And I'm like, that's smart. It's the PC model. We should have done this from the beginning.
to even to drive the nail in the coffin, because I have looked, and I actually do have a PlayStation 2 game on my PS4. It's a copy of Star Ocean to the End of Time. I still have my physical copy of the PS2 version, just in case something happens to my PS4 or something happens that wipes all my save games for some unknown god reason.
That's honestly kind of my issue with this generation, is that I would like to go back and replay Ultimate Spider-Man or the God of War games.
Or the generation we're heading into.
The generation that we're heading into, one that I would have liked, but the thing I missed from this last generation that we're talking about, which is the idea that I would like to play the games from the PS2, the PS3. I don't want to keep those consoles. It just wastes space, and they become dust collectors in case I want to play them.
Yeah, which most of the time you don't end up doing anyway.
Yeah, I had to clean off my PS1 just because it was just super dusty and gross. And just going back and to finish a point I had on PlayStation of why they've fallen behind in the retro market, whereas Nintendo and Xbox have made great strides, is do we all remember the Sony PlayStation Classic fiasco? Whereas Nintendo and even Sega reignited the console wars in a way with their minis, and these are great minis. I absolutely adore these things. You look at PlayStation, they dropped the ball hard.
I forgot that thing even came out, man.
No,
You're right.
Even a TurboGrafx 16 mini came out, and I think that's sold more than the PlayStation Classic.
You know what just came out on Xbox PC Game Pass, Ben? Final Fantasy VIII Remastered.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's a 1998 PlayStation 1 game that I'm playing on my Xbox PC. That's like, God, thank you, Microsoft.
Because they understand it, and it's baffling to be headed into this generation where even Nintendo understands old games going to digital formats for people to be able to play them, and at low prices.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A low cost to get access, and PlayStation still can't wrap its head around it.
Yeah.
The closest thing they're doing for the PS5 is that like retro PlayStation Plus thing where you get all of the PlayStation 4 games. So they just if you get a PS5 and get PlayStation Plus, they're just giving you like Last of Us and the Tomb Raider and like those and God of War. But I'm like, if you have a PS5, you've played those games on your PS4.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not the same as Game Pass. You're just giving us the games we already own.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to give PlayStation owners PlayStation exclusives. That's why they bought your console.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember Sparks. I think Sparks, you, myself, and Ryan were talking that if PlayStation just made a retro console, say call it the PlayStation Legacy, that plays every single PlayStation game from 1 to 3 in a $100 package, I'd buy it. I would buy it.
Yeah, I'd buy it too, but I'll be honest with you. What I'd really prefer is just for them to make it so that either you can put the discs from the old things into your PlayStation, or that they invest in making a massive market of the digital recreations of all their old games. Mm-hmm. Either one would be fine with me, because basically just go the Xbox model where like either one works. You can find it digitally on the marketplace if it's available to play on the Xbox newer consoles, which the majority of games still are, and they are still adding more and more games from the older generations, like Republic Commando, which I can play on my Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. And PS5 has been so wishy-washy on their backwards compatibility too.
Or you just put the disc in like I do with Left 4 Dead, and then boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Or Sprinkler just went crazy.
Yeah. So I just, looking ahead and even looking at this current generation, that is just the frustrating through line of Sony. Yeah. That makes it really hard for me to, if they didn't get such good exclusives.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
There's this great meme. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. It's the from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where Uncle Iroh is talking to Zuko about the 4 nations, but he's talking about essentially the 4 types of gamers: PlayStation gamers, Xbox gamers, Nintendo gamers, and PC gamers. How each essentially being a gamer is like its own nation, and how they're different from one another. Like PlayStation is the nation of exclusivity, whereas Nintendo is uniqueness, and the PC is because you can mod and all stuff. It's like the creative. It's a really good meme, and it's not like, hey, everyone sucks, go with X, Y, and Z. It's we're all video gamers. We should all coexist as one.
Sure, gamers rise up.
So I think we'll have lists of games that we want to highlight. So how do we want to handle that?
So I forgot that we did a end of the year podcast. That was like an end of the decade podcast, and I pretty much I forgot I did that. And I very much
blew your video games on that one. Yeah,
a lot of them because I went hard because it was a decade. But I got more I didn't talk about.
Yeah, funny enough, as we were doing this conversation, as we were talking about, I was like, "Oh crap, that's a great one! Oh my god, that's another one." Because funny enough, I can't look at all my games because my games are in a box over there.
Hilarious. I think that what's interesting is that my list. Well, it's not interesting, but my list is going to be the shortest. I had to go to my shelf and be like, "What did I? Do I have more? I should have more." And so I would like write down because I had so little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't. For me, I can't possibly like. First off, there's a ton of games that I know I haven't gotten to that I want to, and I wish I could talk about, but I can't. So hopefully someone else does. Probably this guy. And then that there's also there's too many games, even with that reduced category, for me to want to touch on specifically. So I tried to think of ones that I felt like were really like innovative of where we were going in gaming necessarily, or just things that I thought were super, super dope. I didn't rank them in any particular order though. And I just have a list of things I want to make sure we talk about because they were things that really dominated the gaming space in this past generation. And I'm going to kick things off. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick things off by bringing up Dragon Ball FighterZ, the most crazy, intense just
say what it is. It's the best Dragon Ball Z game.
It's the best Dragon Ball Z game ever made.
Yeah,
like this fighting game made people fans of the show that had never seen the show. That's how good this fighting game was. I can't. That game's incredible. That game is incredible.
It's sadly the first like real true Dragon Ball Z fighting game. And I don't mean that I like the Budokai games are fighting games, but I mean like this is a tournament level, street level, a Street Fighter like technique. Like you have to be, if you're like top 10 players in the world play Dragon Ball Z Fighters, they don't play Street Fighter. Like it's what I watch that game a lot. I don't play that game anymore, but seeing the fights, it's like watching that anime, dude. It's insane. That game looks so good. I can't believe it looks like the show. It looks like 2D animation that turns into 3D sometimes. It's gorgeous. And it's got a full length campaign that's kind of bad, but just really fun.
Not only is that revolutionary for Dragon Ball Z games, it's revolutionary for fighting games.
Yeah.
What a masterpiece that is to have come out in this generation.
Fake Nerd Fight Night coming.
Fake Nerd Fight Night, baby.
Coming soon.
Fake Nerd Fight Night.
Ben.
Yes.
We're gonna get this out of the way right now. Let's talk about Zelda.
Yeah. So I actually did make a list, and funny enough, I'm changing it right now.
Did you rank them?
I did. So this list is gonna like go up and down, but my top 3 are the ones that I'm gonna keep for this generation. Like from numbers 4 through 10 are gonna jump around, and even my honorable mentions might get back in there. But Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is at number 2 of this generation as one of the best games of this generation. My God, that I was thinking about this. Nintendo has perfected an art. And that is the art of the launch title. The N64 had Super Mario 64. The Game Boy had Tetris. The GameCube had Super Mario Sunshine. And the Wii had Twilight Princess. And with the Switch, you get Breath of the Wild, which is still phenomenal. And just, oh my God. I still remember playing that game for hours just thinking, I want to go over there. What's over that hill? What is over that ridge? What is up this mountain? Just the fact of exploring and these giant open sandbox games like GTA 5. GTA 5 is not on this list. It's not even on my honorable mentions. A great game. Huh?
You played GTA 5?
I did. I beat GTA 5. It is a great game. But the thing with stuff like GTA 5 is that there's just so much stuff to do that I get lost. I get scared. Whereas Breath of the Wild, for some reason, it was just like, go. Have fun. Explore.
That's my favorite thing about good open world games. Freedom. And honestly, like when did this come out?
2017.
17. Okay, so I think I talked about it. The last game before that really had an impact for open world RPGs was Skyrim in 2011. Yeah. Where like, yo, like this is how you make an open world and you streamline it and you make it hard. You make it hard to master but easy to play, right? Breath of the Wild capitalized on that in every single way. Games are going to be taking inspirations from Breath of the Wild, and they already have started to. Games are like Genshin Impact is a brand new RPG from this year that is straight up, yo, let's play Breath of the Wild. Ubisoft Gods and Monsters, Phoenix Rising. It's a terrible name. Immortal Rising is Breath of the Wild, like straight up, like they're just copying it, which is not a bad thing, because like it's not bad if you're taking from good inspiration. Like that's not a bad thing.
Video games do it all the time.
And of course, in video games, imitation is the clearest form of flattery.
Exactly.
Because they know.
Mag had a comment. So I guess these are their favorites of this generation: Doom, FF7R, Spider-Man, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh baby, yeah, getting all those. Hell yeah.
So all of those are on my list except for one. And that is Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is in my honorable mentions.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Do you just Sparks? Did you have more on your list, or did you just want to?
I think are we?
No, my list was one.
This list was one. Okay.
No, I'm kidding, Ben. I'm kidding.
I think we're just like bouncing. We're bouncing around.
We're just bouncing around. I put them in no order, so
neither did I.
You know, I'm just gonna go through my list with like 1 through 10 really quick. God of War, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Spider-Man, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Dark Souls 3, Nier Automata, Final Fantasy 15, Doom Eternal, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
You haven't beaten Bloodborne yet, right?
No, I haven't beaten Bloodborne yet. I haven't beaten Nier Automata yet either, but I love Nier Automata. Okay. My honorable mentions are Kingdom Hearts, the All-in-One Edition, because I'm putting that all because the reason why you're able to play all the Kingdom Hearts on the PS4, I think is just fantastic. Or at least experience all the Kingdom Hearts is amazing.
Sure.
Final Fantasy VII Remake is honorable mention. Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Mega Man 11, Monster Hunter World, Shadow of the Colossus, Crash Insane Trilogy, Cuphead, and Tetris 99. Whereas my one bummer, the one game that really bummed me out, but I still have, but I haven't touched it, is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Ben, real quickly, I think once you get to the point, that your honorable mentions are as long as your list, you should probably just make it part of the list.
Still rank them.
Like I said, the honorable mentions can jump. They can keep jumping.
But I mean, there's so many honorable mentions. Just make it the list.
You haven't. It's so interesting that like Marvel Infinite is the one like it's the one that got away. It's not that good.
No, it's not. And
because I didn't play it.
Huh?
I thought you didn't play it. How'd you judge it so quickly?
No, I did. I own it. I own the Steelbook.
No, I thought. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, we thought you said you didn't play it.
No. I said I didn't finish Nier Automata.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Just to go on about because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, it was as great as Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate is. Infinite dropped the ball.
It did.
It completely dropped the ball. The roster is so tiny. The story mode it's okay. I mean, I like it, but people just aren't playing the game. And what made Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 great was its colorful roster, was how fast-paced and quick that game was. And I mean, the 3v3 fighting system is awesome. I mean, the Infinity Stones, it sounds cool to have an Infinity Stone, but those turn into really cheap cheat codes instantly.
I hate them. I think it ruins literally every single match. That's why I don't like that game.
Like the one thing I do love about Infinite is that you have Mega Man X and Zero fighting, but the storyline totally took them out of the equation because their main villain, Sigma, is fused with Ultron. You would think they'd have more screen time, but they didn't, and that's bullshit if you ask me.
Solid list, Ben.
Thank you.
I was less like because of the ranking list. I more just wanted to I thought of this thing. I want to talk about why it mattered in this generation. Mm-hmm. Brandon, I want to get you in on this because I want to talk about the slow, painful downfall of Halo in this generation. Halo 4 and Halo 5 came out in this generation.
Did they?
Yeah, and boy, did that ship. Halo
4 was 360.
Oh, you're right. Halo 5. Okay, so Halo 5 was a launch. Xbox One title. And Halo 5 sunk the ship that Halo 4 was lightly coasting with.
But don't you want to speak the truth?
If you don't mind.
No, I don't.
Please.
Halo is a very influential game franchise in my life. I played all the Halo games. That's still a true statement. I played all the Halo games. I've gotten the Xboxes only to play Halo. And then I pick up whatever later. But I got a 360 at launch because I wanted to play Halo 3. I got an Xbox. I bought an Xbox, saved up for an Xbox to play Halo 1 and 2. And I liked Halo 4. I did. It's a pretty good game.
I don't think so.
I like what they did with Master Chief and Cortana and kind of make that relationship be a relationship, because the difference that 343 wanted to do was take away the idea that Master Chief was us. Master Chief is a very thin character. Bungie meant that to be so we could project onto Master Chief. I think playing with the idea that Cortana is more important to Master Chief than was led on, and kind of that family relationship, that's all works for me, and I think it's pretty engaging story because of it. Halo 5 just sucks.
Yeah, but what about the Didac? Remember the Didac? The villain from Halo 4? I think he's in Halo 5. I honestly don't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
Bad. It's bad. It's very bad.
Well,
I love the design of those villains, but like playing Halo 4, I'm just like, man, why aren't I playing Destiny?
Yeah.
The Halo games had a really simple mythology to them that you can catch up with, you can understand. I don't think that is true for the new Halo games under 343. I think the mythology is really convoluted and complicated and difficult to keep up with.
There's a great video all about all the books. It's like 45 minutes, and you guy read all.
Yeah,
is that Polygon guy?
Video, yeah.
That guy's like my favorite guy.
That's a solid video where he basically tells you what's worth your time, because there are things worth your time and things that aren't.
Yeah. He spent an entire year reading
Halo 5 is, to this day, the worst case of horrendously misleading marketing to final product I have ever seen in video games.
I was so
and
excited.
Probably will ever see again.
I was so excited because my Master Chief maybe being the bad guy is like the coolest thing that at the time I was like, holy shit, we're hunting down the Chief to get the truth.
Just the idea of these two characters pitted against each other. There's two different commercials of them in opposing positions,
and like
ready to kill each other.
It's awesome
over their beliefs.
It's
and
amazing.
I'm like, this is compelling drama. There was a podcast that ran for 2 seasons that's an audio drama, hyping up the story of that with freaking Keegan-Michael Key and Colby Smulders in it, and narrating this incredible story. And Halo 5 just like crashed and burned that whole idea down to the ground, to the point where, man, I don't even know if I care about Halo ever again.
You guys want to know the craziest thing? We should have been playing Halo Infinite right now.
Right.
That game is not coming out for at least a year.
Yep.
I looked at it.
And it's part of Xbox Series X marketing still, is seeing Master Chief featured so heavily.
It's on the box.
I said this earlier, but like part of the reason why I'm probably skipping this Xbox generation is because I don't want to play Halo Infinite. I don't want to play any more Halo games.
Also, Brandon, Microsoft said you don't need to buy a new Xbox
because you can play it on one.
You could still play all of the brand new games for the next couple of years on your Xbox One.
You know, that sounds really great, but in regards to Halo Infinite,
no, it's still bad.
I still want you to keep holding on to the Xbox, because there's other things on Xbox now where I'm like, I think Brandon would have a great time, and the only way to do these things are Xbox with you, like Left 4 Dead.
Sure.
But man, Halo was you can tell how hard it fell by the fact that like it was Halo 5 at launch, and then misery after despair.
There was 4 or 5 Halo games that came out in the 360 generation and 1 in the Xbox One generation.
Yeah.
You had Halo 3, which was the launch for
Halo
the Xbox
3,
360.
Reach, ODST, and Combat Evolved Remake.
Yeah, which, let's be real, the best one out of those is Reach.
Reach is so good.
Reach
for Reach. Yeah. Hell, I played 3, I played 4.
Oh, and Halo 4, so 5.
Oh yeah, because that was a launch out. Yeah. So
5 Halo games, 1 generation. People, what the hell happened?
I was hearing how, because I have played Halo before. I do love the Halo franchise. I just don't have an Xbox because I have other stuff. But just to hear how many of the diehard Halo fans, friend of the podcast, one of my best friends, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. He loves Halo, and just to hear him say, "Is like, dude, 5 isn't good," because we would co-op Halo together. And
when I was a kid, there were 2 games that I cared deeply, deeply about, and it was God of War and Halo. And this generation brought those back to me, and only one of them I'm going to continue playing.
Yeah. Man, I even recently I went back to the multiplayer for Halo 5, and like it plays fine, but it's not recognizable as Halo anymore. It's turned into Call of Duty, where all the guns have scopes. You have a sprint button. You have like an automatic run. And I just look back at the first Combat Halo Evolved, or Halo Combat Evolved, and I'm like, wow, it's totally not even the same game anymore.
Right. So if I kind of, if it's okay with you guys, I would like to change gears off of Halo because I know Halo is a huge bummer for you guys. But there's something I want to talk about, something that's not slightly
real quickly. If Sparks had one more thing to say about Halo, I
finish.
want him to get that out first.
No, he's basically doing what I was going to do. I was going to say I just really wanted to cover that because that was a crucial downfall in this generation.
Yeah,
and we can move forward from it. I don't think there is a more clear blemish in AAA games in this generation than Halo 5.
And who knows the state? I mean, we know the state of Infinite. It's bad. And I was like, oh, Halo was the best, and now where is it? Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but,
Ben, as you were saying.
So another point that actually really big point that came out this generation is the rise of battle royale games. Apex Legends, Fortnite. One of my honorable mentions was Tetris 99, and we just got Super Mario 35. Because I know you two, Sparks and Ryan, have just started really playing Fortnite. And because when I first tried, I have played Fortnite before. When I tried it, I didn't like it, and
I was in the same boat because I tried it probably around the same time as you did, early on in its thing, where I was like only a few months into it becoming very popular. A lot of people talking about it. I'm like, I want to try it. Like, let's see if this is a thing worth checking out. And I didn't care for it. Didn't care for it.
Because not just with Fortnite, but also because Fortnite, Apex, and at the very beginning, Star Wars, Battlefront 2, because those games are or at least they were.
It was different, but
let me finish.
It's called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That is actually the first.
PUBG. PUBG. Yeah, but looking at those games, well, mostly Fortnite and Star Wars Battlefront, because especially Battlefront, because that was at the center of one of the biggest controversies this generation, microtransactions.
Yep. That was big boy.
Because I remember, I could be wrong, or this could have just been clickbait. Some kid spent like $300 using their parents' credit card for buying Fortnite skins and dances.
Yeah, the predatory nature of free-to-play games is real. Like gambling is a real thing, and like kids love opening up boxes and shit. So like on the phones, there was that huge epic scandal with Apple, and now you cannot play Fortnite on your iPhone anymore. I tried to play it so I could play it on my own time. You can't do it anymore because they had a big fight. I lost my point. That sucks.
Yes, I'm glad you brought up both of these things. The microtransactions, especially, like where that's all. Battlefront was at the middle of that. I wanted to bring up Battlefront both for that reason, and also. I think Battlefront was very special in this generation because what a freaking gorgeous game.
Oh yeah.
Battlefront and Battlefront 2, absolutely beautiful games, recreated from the original props, recreated lovingly with Lucasfilm to be an all right gaming experience.
Especially Battlefront 2, because Battlefront 2 went from being all right to downright despised because of said microtransactions. Then you have to get like an entire full work week just to get one thing for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I bought that game at launch, and because I wanted to believe that they would fix their shit from the first game, and they really didn't. And it took them months and months until we started all playing it after it was fixed. Like a year after it was fixed.
In the quarantine time, Battlefront 2 right now is actually pretty fun to play, guys. There's a pretty good investment to it, and it's just not hard to get.
You can get it for $10, and there's a lot of shit.
So as awesome as, because I will agree, Battlefront 2 is awesome. It was for free on the PlayStation Store some time ago as a PlayStation Plus game. Because what they have done now, because people, I feel like a lot of gamers, especially today, they hate day one patches. Like Fallout 76, how big was that day one patch?
I don't know.
It was bigger than the game when you first bought the damn thing. Well, there was a 50 gig. The game was 48 gigs, and then day one there was a 50 gig patch for that, and it just turned into a complete shit show.
Sure.
No Man's Sky, when you first bought the game, it was a complete shit show. Star Wars, first bought it, you know where I'm going with this. But as time went on, these developers fixed their games, so now they're great game. I heard great things about Fallout. I've heard amazing things about No Man's Sky, and like we said earlier, Star Wars has become a really fun game with some microtransactions, but you don't need those damn microtransactions.
You pointed out another really, really terrible thing about this generation. Patches. Developers do not have enough time to finish their games, and they have to release games before they're finished. Yep. So almost every game gets released unfinished. There are very few games. The only games that get to come out that are perfect are basically Rockstar games and maybe like the Uncharted and God of War games.
Yeah.
But like every other game developer, like, yo, the game's got to come out because it's got to come out. It's going to be buggy. I'm sorry.
You know what? I would say Nintendo. They're pretty good in their first party titles are also very well polished.
They don't deal with online shit. They just make the games and they're finish them.
Yeah.
That's the one thing Nintendo actually, for all the online shit that they don't do, that's the one thing they do get right. They get their games out and they're good.
And even when they do, because Fire Emblem Three Houses, one of my favorite games my favorite game of 2019. It came out with a DLC patch, and they're still what was that DLC? An extra story. Guess how long that story was? That story was 15 plus hours long. That was a long ass thing.
That is a very large and rampant problem that came up in this generation. The need for patches, the need to improve a game after its release because they kept pushing people and rushing it out. And
Marvel's Avengers,
terrible thing.
Marvel's Avengers has lost 96% of its player base. I'm one of those people. I stopped playing that game because there's nothing to do because they had to release that game a year before it was done.
Right.
It sucks. That game is in bad shape.
Yeah.
Besides that, the other point is that if I had to give this generation a name, it'd be the generation of streamers.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, streaming is mostly
exists that much. The previous gen
that has more to do with
technology,
YouTube and social media than it does with gaming.
True, but also how access. Because before, I want to say because with the PC, you could stream, you could do a whole lot of awesome stuff with the PC. But with a PS4, I started streaming because of my PS4. Obviously, I'm not able to do it with the PS3 unless I remember remembering wrong.
No, Twitch didn't exist back then.
Yeah, but I could stream easily with my PS4 thanks to a push of a button. I don't need a high-end gaming PC. I want one, but I don't need it to stream, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, all of the video game people have learned that streaming is a part of their marketability and community. It's essentially free marketing for them. So they've embraced it pretty hardcore. Yeah, that's a good point. I want to jump back to Fortnite because Fortnite is kind of generation defining.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's the biggest game in the world.
Yeah, that thing took off. I can understand currently playing it why, but I don't get how it got there based on my initial experience.
Kids love building.
For sure.
It's weird because
it combined Minecraft with
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But that game has come a long way, and they put a lot of attention to detail and hard work into things like the Marvel event that's currently happening. So good on Fortnite for that. That has changed a lot of things. In a similar vein, the Granddaddy Battle game that I think is not forgotten but easily not brought up because it's just been defining its own niche for a few years now is Overwatch.
I was gonna bring it up.
I can't. My roommate Kai, he has an Overwatch piece of art that's been staring me in the face the entire time. I cannot believe I forgot about Overwatch. But you're absolutely right. Overwatch is a huge niche game, and it is, I would feel, it's definitely a generation definer.
Overwatch and another game called Battlegrounds
PUBG
launched at the exact same time.
Yeah.
No, maybe
Players
it's not
Unknown's Battlegrounds. They just call it PUBG, but it's Players Unknown's Battlegrounds. It's the same game, I promise. I played Battlegrounds
as the Overwatch one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought PUBG was just like Fortnite. I haven't played it.
Yeah, it is because Fortnite stole from PUBG.
Okay. So a game that was built just like Overwatch launched at the same time as Overwatch and was just completely washed under the. You know what I'm talking about? That's different. Battleborn. Thank you. Okay, so not Battlegrounds. Whatever. That's what I'm talking about. Where it's structured exactly the same as Overwatch, not like Fortnite. It's structured exactly the same. They launched at the same time, and Overwatch just superseded that game hardcore, blasted it out of the water
because it's better,
and dominated that market immediately. People realized that a market of this this team combat 6v6 with special characters was on the horizon of something that was going to be big. But Blizzard just owned that market hardcore. Hardly anything can compete with it right now.
There's a game called Paladins came out. There's Champions. There's Crucible, which is the Amazon one that I talked about that got canceled because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Overwatch is like the first one to really do it, just like PUBG was, and now Fortnite has eclipsed PUBG by $1 billion. Like, it's crazy that PUBG was like super popular, and then Fortnite just destroyed it. Like, it's really impressive.
And Overwatch just never even gave Battleborn a chance.
No,
because initially, Travis and I, a friend of the podcast, Travis and I, were both looking at Battleborn first. And that was the thing we were pursuing. And we were like, wow, this looks really incredible. And honestly, the game looked like it was designed very well. But Overwatch was the same thing and came out in the same month and killed it.
Yeah.
Just wrecked anyone competing with Overwatch ever. That game always has players, just like Fortnite. Overwatch always has players. That game is incredibly popular. You've all played it for the some of you for the first time this year. That game is awesome, undeniably. Like, it's just good combat, competitive fun.
Yeah, you were kind enough to give to me for my birthday. No, not last year, a few years ago, actually.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to real quick. I have this Game Informer article talking about the best open world games, because that's probably my favorite genre. And these are all games that I really love. Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, love it. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, love it. Horizon Zero Dawn, love it. Spider-Man, love it. Ghost of Tsushima, I'm the only person who thinks it's fine.
Funny now, because when I was thinking about my list originally about some of the best games of this generation, I just kept thinking like, oh my god, this game. But I knew it was going to come down to God of War and Breath of the Wild. The reason why I feel, because as much as I love Breath of the Wild and I will sing its praises, this is me getting super nitpicky, is that with Breath of the Wild, as expansive as it is, and as a beautiful world it is, if you get something, this is going to sound weird, but let me explain. It's not new. It's like, oh, this is another type of sword. This is another type of armor that I have that's going to break in like 10 minutes. Whereas in God of War, because both games made me want to explore the world. They want me to see what was on the side of the horizon. Whereas in God of War, it could be a new magic upgrade. It could be a new health upgrade. It could be like, when I explored, I felt like I truly was rewarded with new lore, with new upgrades. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, don't get me wrong, you explore, you find the shrines, you solve the puzzle, you get the upgrades. But in God of War, it just felt like, oh, I have to do this. I can't just streamline and go through. I have to explore my surroundings. I have to find it.
The stuff you find in Breath of the Wild isn't as exciting, but the traversal elements of Breath of the Wild are the top. It's the top.
Exactly.
In terms of exploring an open world, it's the best one ever made. But the things you find aren't particularly interesting. You're finding 1,000 Korok seeds.
Yeah, but of course, Breath of God of War has Mimir.
Yeah.
This is a good time to bring Brandon in.
Yes.
Brandon loves God of War.
We talked about it.
It is wild to have a AAA title like God of War absolutely reinvent itself as a type of video game.
Make you actually care about the character, because Kratos really sucks. He just yells a lot.
And just decide, you know what? This game's just going to be designed differently from top to bottom. I remember when the first level footage came out and we were all watching it and we're like, oh, this is going to be like just a totally different game.
Yeah.
A whole different thing. And what an incredible shift it was.
I love that game.
Go ahead. Expand.
I love that game. It was my favorite game of the year when it came out. I think 2018.
2018.
Yeah. I would make an argument, Brandon, that God of War was key to you stepping back into more gaming.
I think so, because God of War and Spider-Man came out around the same time, roughly, and the kind of 1-2 punch of that was what really got me back in hardcore.
Yeah.
Man, that game rules. I need to go back through it again now that it's got New Game Plus. But everything about that game is so different than what we remember. The axe mechanic is so cool and so much fun. The story being so three-dimensional about what I love, the father connecting with their son. And then when we get the Chaos Blades in that one, and you feel like you've done this before because it's kind of familiar, but it's also reinvented, him fighting with his Chaos Blades. But once you get into doing all those moves, that's the only real familiarity you have to the previous games.
Returning to your house and re-picking up the Blades of Chaos for the first time, that's like a top 10 moment of this generation. That is like such like a what's the correct name? Like it's something really really cool, like Return to Your Roots or something like that. But,
It's you know what? I'll say it's akin to when Goku went Super Saiyan the first time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, oh, ooh, this feels
a big moment.
This feels right.
Yeah.
Okay, I know
Athena was there in the background. You're like, ooh.
Yeah. It's like, oh God, Athena, what are you doing here? Now, what my last point, my last thing that I want to talk about is this generation. Besides it being the generation of streaming, besides it being the generation of battle royale games,
Got a lot of names for it.
Yeah, I know. This is a multitude of generation. This is a huge thing. Is also this was another big thing for remakes and remasters. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, which Brandon, you absolutely love the Spyro games, and another.
I think if I might interject.
Yes.
I think the remaster remake thing is a direct response to the fact that Sony doesn't allow backwards compatibility. I think that's where that market came from. That market was like, we need to fill this niche because you don't really see a whole lot of remakes or remasters on the other consoles.
I could agree to that. I can agree with that.
Except for the ones that are like Resident Evil, which are multi-console, but like
right, if they're multi-console, sure, but like there's no like
exclusives aren't usually doing it.
No, Halo got anniversary one.
Capcom like jumping 2 generations.
No, no, you're right. I'm trying to think of like have you done any?
How many have done it? Yeah,
it's definitely more of a PlayStation thing.
Yeah, Capcom has also been doing it recently with all their Mega Man titles. You have Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, Mega Man X 1 and 2, because if you find those carts from the NES games like Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3, those are $100+ carts.
Real quick, it's actually a good point on the Xbox exclusives because I remember now God of War 1 does have like a complete remaster, like a dedicated remaster of it, but they just let you play God of War 2 and 3 because they're like, you know what, it really didn't need it.
God of War.
They kind of realized. Sorry, Gears of War. I'm so sorry. Gears of War. Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Xbox exclusive Gears of War. They did a remaster of the first one.
Yep.
And then they realized, you know what, it really wasn't necessary. You can just play 2 and 3 and have it look good, but it's the game. Like just Xbox really figured that out.
Yeah, I think Gears was like their first like, oh, we actually don't need to do this, and then they never did it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the biggest, if the argument I'll say was the biggest change of a remake was, of course, Final Fantasy VII, because that was a complete turnaround, or it's completely different from what that original game is.
So Ben, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but I somebody online told me what the end of that game is, and if that's true, holy shit, that's really cool, and I kind of want to play that game now because it's wild, and I'm I know that's what you wanted to do in this game is be weirdly interdimensional. I'm excited. Okay,
if you want me to loan to you, I can loan to you again.
Not yet.
Okay,
but I found out like, oh, that's what. Oh, that's radical. So like I'm much more excited to play now I know what it is.
Yeah, so 7 remake, that was upgrades. That was the big one. We waited 5 years for that when that was announced at E3 2015. We got Final Fantasy 15 before that, which is one of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time. Was 7 remake, especially since it's such a huge departure and it dove deeper into the characters of the game. It's weird because I have a bit of a love-hate relationship. I love the game. It's a fantastic game. It's a contender for my game of the year this year. But there are some things of the gameplay that I hope they fix. That being the ATB system, which was part of the original, but there are times it really hindered my experience while playing it. So, as great as 7R is, there are some times where I got really annoyed with it. It's like, why is this here? Is this? I get it. It's from the original, but the more I look at the game, I feel it's more of an adaptation of the original than a straight 1-to-1 remake. Because we all know it's not a 1-to-1 remake. Because you only go into Midgar.
Yeah, I've heard that same analysis in a lot of places.
Okay.
Without any experience in playing it myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, solid points. I've got a couple of other little defining ones. I will just soft mention Last of Us Part 2 because Last of Us is incredible, and I've only played the first 2.5 hours, which is the prologue.
I beat it, and I have different thoughts.
And I'm not highlighting it for like great story or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting it for like good game building.
Oh, it's insane.
That's all I'm highlighting it for because I love Last of Us, but Last of Us I can't bring up because Last of Us is PS3.
Yeah. Last of Us 2, in terms of gameplay and even the story stuff, like it's well acted. And, like there's just some choices I think they're bad choices.
Right, and I won't argue on any of that.
The gameplay is so sick, man.
But the building of the world, the game, just from what I played, I know, like, this is that good shit. This is that good rock-steady drug. Give it into my veins. I know. Like, that game, no game ever more than the Last of Us games has sucked me in to make me feel like I'm just doing it. I'm just in it. I forget reality entirely.
Super immersive.
They're very, very good at that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the only amount I want to touch on that. I'm going to change gears, and I'm going to say I really want to talk about Tomb Raider.
Okay.
4 generation and Xbox One generation of Tomb Raider, because not only are they great adventure games in their own right that redefined a character's origin, they took Lara Croft and made her an interesting and compelling character. Amazing.
Friend of mine, hopefully soon to be friend of the podcast, Grayson, he actually just played all of the Tomb Raider games. He's been posting them on his personal Instagram, and he loves those games. So I would like to get into those.
There was a remaster for the PS4, so I'll allow it. But the 2 sequels did come out. The 2 Tomb Raider sequels did come out.
Yeah, and I'm talking about like just that trilogy as a whole.
They're dope.
What Square Enix and all that team brought to reinventing Lara, incredible thing in this generation. And outside of Uncharted, a revival of the adventure game.
Yeah, I didn't play the third one, even though I got it for free on PS Plus. But that second one and the first one are amazing. Yeah, they're really, really great, and inspiration for that movie that's getting a sequel.
Quick thing, quick anecdote on revivals. The Doom revival in 2016 and the Perfection this year.
That's on my list too. Doom is like nothing else. That Doom revival floored all of us.
I wish,
with its absolute passion for being Doom.
Yeah, I wish things I hear about the sequel were better, but we still got Doom, baby. That thing will forever be.
I really want Brandon to try it someday.
It's it's and like it's okay.
And it's not really a spoiler. It's a secret because Doom Eternal has secrets. And one of my favorite things is if you find all they're collectibles. They're called cheat codes, but you can only activate them when you replay a level. If you find all the cheat codes, you unlock the original Doom. And if you you have a room in the fortress of the Doom Slayer that is your room, and there's a old 90s PC that you could play the original Doom and Doom 2 if you unlock it with a secret passcode.
That's very nice of them.
It is. It's like it knows it's Doom. It's just like, we're Doom. Shoot, here's a gun. Shoot them demons, boy.
We're doomed.
Brandon, you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I wanted to say something back when you were talking about Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah, go. Talk about it. Yeah, please.
I wanted to bring up, because you brought up Tomb Raider and you briefly brought up Uncharted. This is the generation that I played all the Uncharted games, because there is a remaster for the PS4 of the first 3, and then the 4th one came out, and then the spinoff. That franchise rules.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Well-made adventure games are dope.
Yeah.
They are. There's a reason why Tomb Raider has been popular for as long as it has. I'm really glad that the revival, which is Uncharted inspired, took off in the way that it did, and was like, what if we made these characters great, and story driven? I think that's awesome. I want to talk about Monster Hunter World.
I was also wanting to talk about Monster Hunter World.
Monster Hunter World took a game that had never been as expansive and blew it up. And we're talking about Monster Hunter World.
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
150 hours into that game, maybe the most time besides The Witcher that I put into a game this generation.
Some of the coolest creature AI of any video game in this generation, 100%.
Every battle is a boss battle. You have to learn the techniques of the monster, where its weak spots are. You got to have potions and a weakness, things you throw at it. It's so good. It's so fun.
Having people help, because I remember when we were I don't feel bad, but I also kind of miss when Brian and I were on the big Monster Hunter kick, because we were playing with my buddy Scott from up in the Bay, and we would just be going off and just killing monsters together, not killing monsters, capturing, because we got more of the goods that way. And I remember when the Mega Man event happened, and Ryan, you and I grinded so my cat companion, my Palico, can walk around like Mega Man or be dressed up as Mega Man.
I still use Mega Man as my little cat.
Yeah, baby.
Man, Monster Hunter World is one of those games I fell off of. But it's an amazing game, and I love to get. I haven't gotten the Iceborne DLC.
Yes,
but I feel like Monster Hunter is also one of those things that even if you fell off the wagon for a while, you can still jump back in. You just might need to reload the controls. But luckily,
we can all do it.
Yeah,
luckily you can.
None of us have touched Iceborne, so we can.
Yeah, but one of the best things about Monster Hunter, especially Monster Hunter World, that some people gave it 5 for, which I understand, is since it's online, you could use a flare gun and ask for help.
Yeah,
and because you could Dark Souls one. Oh God, Dark Souls. Sorry, put that to the side. So you could 1v1 a giant monster if you want, but if you need help, you still get the goods. You still get the woods. And boys, get good. I love Dark Souls. I love Bloodborne.
This is the generation where you love Dark Souls now, and I couldn't be happier.
Dark Souls 3, playing a co-op. I mean, just for a familial thing, because I co-opted that game with my brother. It was just so nice to play Dark Souls, because he's played Dark Souls before, and he was telling me, like, oh yeah, when I did this solo, it sucked, but now I have you, we kicked monsters' asses. I am so excited when I get my PS5. First game I'm gonna get, or the first 2 games are gonna be Miles Morales and Demon Souls, because I'm going to be playing Demon Souls with that. That is going to be so rad.
I watched like the first hour of that, and I'm like, holy shit. PS5, oh my god.
I mean, but getting back on Dark Souls 3, because that's the only Souls game I played. I know Dark Souls Remastered is out. I haven't gotten it yet.
Like Bloodborne, same company.
Yeah, I know. From games. But I love Dark Souls 3. I get the memes. That game is just, it is hard, but it's fair.
Yeah.
And when you do die, you have no one to blame for yourself. It truly is like when people say get good, it's like, no, you actually have to get good in the game. You have to watch the boss. You can't go when swords are swinging. You have to be careful about it. But I feel like playing co-op, because people want to play Dark Souls is like, oh, I did a no-hit run in Dark Souls, or I did a no-dodge roll in Dark Souls. I feel like when you're playing Dark Souls, it's so much more fun when you're playing it with someone else.
For sure.
Because especially when someone hasn't played in a few years, like what I did with my brother, because he's like, what's over here? And then I walk into a thing and we find a treasure, or we find this big secret boss that my brother completely forgot about and go, oh shit.
So it's funny, we've been talking a lot about exploration in open worlds, but no franchise does it maybe better than Dark Souls, because the entire point of the Dark Souls games is they don't tell you the story. You have to figure out the story for yourself through interactions with the NPCs and reading all the item descriptions and reading all the lore that's like written on the walls.
You have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention. It's like if you just kill things,
you can't
in that
be
game,
passive.
You can't be passive. You have to be invested into all the Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
So you know how my brother convinced me to play Bloodborne with him?
Yes, he did.
He said it was Dark Souls, but Victorian era with werewolves and vampires. And then I saw this giant Cthulhu style monster, and then he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!"
So that's the greatest thing about Bloodborne is the first 10 hours. You think it's just a Van Helsing thing, but spoiler alert, it's literally all about the old ones and the elder Cthulhu gods and how people are growing eyeballs to see the inside of the gods. And I'm like, this game just became my favorite game of all time. What? Out of nowhere.
It is H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good.
But it's still so much fun. I got my holy sword, and my brother and I were rocking holy swords.
Oh, Ludwig's holy sword?
Hell yeah, bro.
Fun fact, that game, the Moonlight Sword, is in every single FromSoft game.
Nice.
Every single Dark Souls game and Bloodborne and all their old school PC games. Sekiro, yep. All of them.
Yeah.
Shifting gears, those are great co-op experiences. Let's talk about one of the big co-op experiences of the generation, Bungie's Endeavor of Destiny.
Yeah, you and I have played a lot of that.
The greatest feeling shooter of this generation, hands down, bar none, has a very troubled run.
Man, Destiny 1 and 2 for the last 7 years. Man, talk about riding the wave of quality. Right now it seems to be good, but man, like every 6 months I feel like they're going through some turmoil.
Yeah, so Destiny was a wild experience because it's Bungie. The gameplay feels great.
Yeah.
The world is expansive. The lore is intriguing.
Have you listened to Waypoints recently?
Not recently.
They literally talk like an hour about Destiny lore, and I want to get back into it.
Yeah, Destiny lore is incredibly engaging. It's not surprising. These are the people who started Halo.
Yep.
The alien races are unique and interesting. The world is dynamic. But EA... But EA. And that's kind of it. And we're just now getting to the time in Destiny, like in this past year or two, where it feels like they're really getting to branch out and let you, you wanted to know more, you wanted to explore, you wanted to engage in this world. We'll finally let you do that.
Because if you remember...
with a caveat.
Because remember, they were owned by EA Activision until they went independent last year. So now they can do what they want.
With a caveat. if you enjoyed that old content, better play it quick because it's gonna go in a vault.
They're doing the Disney Vault stuff for video game content, and I just don't get it.
And that's tough.
I just don't get it.
Brandon, did you ever play Destiny?
Complicated love child of mine.
Yeah, Brandon, did you ever play Destiny? I thought you
when
did.
It launched. I played it when it launched.
Oh, you
never again.
You experienced Dinklebot, didn't you?
I did experience Dinklebot, yes.
Wow, that wizard king from the moon.
It's unfortunate because I feel like Brandon had a bad first experience because he didn't ever get to the point where he was playing with like friends on the team, which I think completely changes the experience.
Yeah.
I didn't get into multiplayer to online until a couple months ago.
I know. And it's one of those things where, like, I'd love to find a good entry point to take you back to Destiny because I do think you'd really enjoy it. I think you'd like the gameplay. I think you'd like the lore a lot. It's just timed it wrong.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, and Destiny, they have like a 2-year plan for Destiny 2. Like they're not going to do a Destiny 3. Like, we're just going to keep updating this one game and just make it the World of Warcraft of shooters. Like what they've always wanted to do, but they couldn't under the shitty umbrella of EA.
I'm gonna spin into a small thing about another Dragon Ball game. I'm gonna talk about the Xenoverses.
I like those.
Xenoverse is really cool to me because it is basically the evolution of the Dragon Ball MMO that was region locked to Japan that Toriyama built, and this is basically that turned into this console game that has a solid story that takes place in the far future with the Kai of time and future Trunks, and you basically have to repair problems in all of time and space in the multiverse because the multiverse is real, and Xenoverse makes that very clear. And the fighting is not great, but good.
It's good enough.
And everything else about it is incredible. Like, you get to design your character from all these different human, Saiyan, Majin, Frieza's race, Namekians.
My Frieza guy, last time I played it, I got his golden form, and I was a super cool golden Frieza man.
Yeah, and you can be so customizing. It feels like you are a person revisiting the history of Dragon Ball. You're not just playing through the story, you're revisiting these moments and affecting them and changing them and causing weird things and getting to train with the heroes and villains. Xenoverse is an incredible experience for Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball games did excellent in this last generation with those current running titles.
Kakarot is also out, and people seem to think that's like, they don't seem to love it, but they think it's good. And I'm like, hey man, all good games at least.
I gotta try it.
Yeah. Let's see what I got. Do I got anything?
I want to talk about Lego.
Lego, baby.
Baby.
I this is not my area of expertise, but we're running pretty long, and I wanted to be sure before we even come to a semblance of an end, we talk about Lego. Because I think this generation had some really good Lego games, specifically Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 and Lego Batman Beyond Gotham, which is Lego Batman 3. I think those games rule.
May I add just one? The Lego Jurassic Park game.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The hub world of leaving Jurassic World by boat and vehicle to travel to the other films is incredible.
Yeah.
Was Dimensions this generation?
Dimensions was.
Yeah.
Lived and died.
Lego Dimensions.
Lego Dimensions, yes. I still enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
I think I've only played one Lego game this generation, and it was the Marvel Lego, the first Marvel one.
Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Lego Marvel Superheroes, yes. And that was one where it was a big open world, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Those games are really, Lego is really good couch player games. Yeah, I wish that they would add an online capability, but they are really good 2-person couch player games.
Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 has a battle world type scenario. Which is really fun. Kang is the villain. He's taking different things from different time periods. A lot of really cool unlockable characters from the multiverse. Like you can play as Jesus Reyes, Spider-Man 2099. Miguel O'Hara. Thank you. And many more characters. Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham is when you go to the different Green Lantern worlds, the different Lantern worlds. That's really cool. I think playing as Superman rules. You can play as Duck Dodgers as a Green Lantern, which is cool. Like you can have so many cool little.
That is cool.
Lego characters.
You can play
the Lego games. They know what they do. They do it well, and they do it with a ton of love.
Yeah. Lego Jurassic World has Lego The Hobbit, which they didn't finish because they didn't want to do it anymore. Lego Jurassic World, you can play as the dinosaurs, which is cool.
Yeah.
What I say it was Lego. It was because in the Lego not Lego Marvel. Well, no, Lego Marvel, you can play as Stanley and unlock him.
Yep.
Lego Marvel Superheroes 1, you can play as Stan Lee. And he has he can turn into a Hulk, he has Spider-Man's powers, and then Adamantium Skull.
He's the best.
I forget what else, but yeah, he's like overpowered.
But on the DC side, I think you can unlock and play as Conan O'Brien in one of them. Or is it wrong?
Yes.
I'm glad you brought them up. The Lego games are super dope, and I'm glad they keep making them because they make them well. Like, if you like that kind of thing, there's a wealth of stuff to enjoy.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, honestly. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I wish so badly they would introduce online play just so we could play it without having to be in the same place.
Yeah.
Especially because their split screen isn't great.
No, I disagree.
No, the split screen where it's like the dynamic one,
I love the split
I
screen.
don't really like it. It kind of trips me up.
I think it's genius.
It is,
Ben, if you're not entirely sure.
I'm familiar. I'm signing with Brandon on this one because I do remember playing split screen Lego games with Brandon years ago, back when we were living at CSUN, because we tried playing them together and it got a little jarring.
Yeah, I don't really like Lego Incredibles 2. I don't know. Yeah, Lego Incredibles. I wanted to be sure that it was like just that split screen. For whatever reason, that split screen style doesn't work for me. I don't know why.
Oh, I think it's inventive and genius, personally. I think that when one character wanders off screen and then the line just slowly tilts in the compass direction of where the other person is moving, and then as they come back, it realigns. I think that's brilliant because it allows you to know where you are, but you don't have to stay locked into the exact same screen format, especially for puzzles where it allows you to go much further away from each other to work on them.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for whatever reason. The gameplay aspect of it trips me up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I feel you.
You wanted to bring up.
Oh, I just got 2 more games I want to talk about. I talk about The Witcher 3 a lot. I just think that is a perfect game in where every quest, either side or main, feels important. It's incredibly well acted. It looks gorgeous. It's getting like an Xbox One, PS5 like update while they're working on Cyberpunk. So thank you guys. Just like The Witcher 3, like you don't have to play the previous Witcher games to like it. It's very much a different type of game too. Like it's very much more of an open world game. Not that the ones weren't.
Here's your frying pan.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, that's one of the quests.
And the last one's Control. And Control is not only my favorite game of the year, even though it came out last year. It's legitimately just one of my favorite games of all time. Very few games have resonated with me in a way of like, I've never seen this brought to the screen before in such a way where it is the X-Files, but with normal, boring bureaucracy and the crazy people that live in that on a day-to-day scenario. It's just totally fascinating, and I love it with every fiber of my being. I'm so excited that they're going to continue making games in that universe because it's now connected to Alan Wake. All other games take place in the same universe. Remedy is just a hot studio, baby. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring up also Star Wars in games. This generation, not as a highlight, as a disappointment. I think regardless of how good the games ended up being, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order, or Squadrons, which 2 of those I really like, I think it was a real disappointment that we only got 4 games when we were used to many, many more a year.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's EA. That really sucks.
Because in 1 year, 3 games used to come out from LucasArts.
Yeah. That's... One day, hopefully, Star Wars can get under a better umbrella because the games might, honestly, they probably look the best they will ever look under EA's with the budget they get. But in terms of what they do with their games that are microtransactions, it's the worst possible thing for Star Wars in terms of games. Like, Jedi Fallen Order is dope, but like it has.
I think Jedi Fallen Order is really fun, and I think Squadrons is a blast. But I love
playing Battlefront 2 with friends, and I think like it looks like Star Wars. I will say that like Battlefront 2 looks like Star Wars.
Yeah.
When you play it.
I miss the days of Republic Commando and Bounty Hunter and like those games, like, you know.
For sure.
I miss those.
Character-driven stories that really, really hit.
Yeah.
Fallen Order's almost there, but it's not quite.
Cal Kestis is fine. He's fine.
OG Battlefront 2, Galactic Conquest, pick your army, go at it.
Hey guys, you get an Xbox.
I know it's on there.
You got Xbox. We can all play Battlefront 2 on Xbox.
Guys, you guys gotta get Squadron so we can all play it. We'll all be players, fighters, flyers.
GPU.
Pilots.
Pilots.
There you go. I got it.
We can keep. I know I can keep talking about this because there's select fighters. Because I thought about Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know I talked about it before, but holy crap, Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. Even
That's my last game.
Yeah, even Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, my last game on the list was Dead by Daylight. This year, Dead by Daylight dominated our quarantine time.
Yeah.
There are many 4v1 style games, but none of them have hit quite as hard as Dead by Daylight did. And Dead by Daylight, I think we all discovered in our own way, oh, this is actually really cool. And we have a great time doing it together.
And it's super popular too. And it's been popular for years. Not mostly, but because the gameplay is fun and easy, but also they have all the famous killers that you'd want. Not all of them. You got your Freddy Kruegers and your Leatherfaces.
You can't get Jason like that.
You can't get Jason. He's got his own shitty game. It's fine. It's a fun game.
Dead by Daylight was like really, you can see why that format of play, much like how Overwatch dominates its field, you can see why Dead by Daylight does the same.
If you go on the PC page, on the PC like Steam store, there are literally 100 like different Dead by Daylight like clones, and some of them are pretty good, but there's just a lot that are just like they're trying to capture that spirit, and it's just you just can't. It just does not.
All right, we're running pretty
long, but I will. Thanks for doing the episode 0 of Basement Arcade Pawsman, you guys. Really appreciate it. One thing I will end, as much as this generation is ending, one game that I will end it on is that if your game, when it first comes out and it doesn't succeed at first, do not lose hope. Because the poster child for this happening is, of course, Among Us. Because that game came out way back in 2018 and it exploded in 2020. Obviously, because, well, not obviously, but if there was maybe a semi-positive that came out as pandemic, is this really good, very easily accessible, very fun online multiplayer game came out. So even though your game came out X amount of years ago and didn't hit up, don't lose hope, because some sleeper hits that came out 2 or 3 years ago may become one of the best, most talked about games.
I don't think Fall Guys would be nearly as popular if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't, or it probably wouldn't be for streamers. So Sparks, do you have something to say?
I think you also brought up a good point. Video gaming got recolored for a lot of people in the time of the pandemic as a super dope way to be accessible. Like people who don't normally play video games with me are playing video games with me because it's the best way to connect with the people right now. It's honestly been the strongest way for me to communicate with people who I don't get to see at all this year, and rarely because we live so far away, like my friend Justin, who plays Dead by Daylight with us.
Yeah. The previous generation, there was politicians who were trying to say like video games cause like mass shootings and stuff like that. And now with this generation, we have AOC playing Among Us with other politicians and streamers. And I'm like, the talk of video games, like it's just like movies. Like movies have been accepted for 100 years, but why are video games have the stigma? It's like, it's so silly, and it's cool to like, people, they're video games. They're
just watching.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just watching AOC playing Among Us and acting totally sus was one of the funniest things I've seen this year.
And Ilana Mar, yeah, man, that's video games are just another type of entertainment, guys.
Yeah, video games. This right now in this current period of time have been 50% of my social life, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
being able to hop on games with people and feel like I'm still getting to converse with them regularly, engage with them, really helps a lot.
Oh yeah. Totally does. Totally does.
Right, Brandon?
I agree. Well, it's true. Like, I wouldn't talk to Pi, Justin, Matt, like, if it wasn't for video games.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you allowed. It's because you're the reason why I'm doing these online games now. I'm glad that you did that.
You're welcome.
Friendship unlocked.
Okay.
That was fun. Thanks for doing that with me, guys. Really appreciate it.
I love video games. I'll do it
all
all
right.
day.
Find us on fakenerdpodcast.com. Bye. No, I'm kidding, Ben. Ben, it is your book club, so continue speaking.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It is my book club. I forgot.
I hope you read it.
I did. I read it. So my book club is our first ever webtoon on the show as of now. It is the webtoon Melancholy by Josh Nicholson. You could read it for free up on webtoon as of right now. and we did the first 3 chapters. So chapters 1, 2, and 3, we read through them. And the story is about pretty much a girl looking for love.
We also did prologue. Prologue 1, 2, 3.
Oh, and the prologue. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Thank you, Brandon. Prologue and chapters 1, 2, 3. It is about a girl looking for love in the big city and finding it in all the wrong places.
That is true.
Or at least not looking in the right direction. So, guys, what did you think of it?
I really like chapter 3.
I thought it was all right. I expect it to be worse, just because like most webcomics that I've read before have been like they're webcomics. I found some of the interactions to be pretty fun, but overall, it's fine.
Oh, Sparks.
I'm gonna try to like pull back on how critical I am because this is a webcomic. And I understand, like, it's someone doing something on it, like, that's awesome. This just didn't really work for me. A lot of it has to do with the writing of this really screams tell me, not show me in a comic format, which really irritates me. There's a lot of like restating facts I understand about the character or defining a character by the way other people are talking about them rather than like showing me that's who the character is by their actions. And because it's a comic, I'm like, you gotta show me some of these aspects of the people. And just many instances of people just saying like, oh, can't find a man and like reiterating that point over and over. And I'm like, no, like I get what the story is about. And like, it's not building to any kind of character concept that fleshes anybody out.
There's no arc.
Yeah. And that just was hard for me. And I, unlike Brandon, I really didn't like chapter 3, but I'm probably being like overly critical. I was talking to Ryan about it before. I'm just going to get this out of the way now because I'm deep in media analysis right now. And specifically, we're deep in racial and LGBTQ representation. That's what I'm studying across 3 different classes right now. And so when I come to this chapter 3, all I can see is homophobia, with her basically being a representation of, how can you think I'm gay? Like that's the worst thing that can be assumed about her. And there's only 2 people of color in this webcomic. One of them is an asshole boss, and the other one is an overly predatory lesbian. It's not great. For media representation, it's not fantastic. And I can again forgive, like, it's a webcomic. That is common stereotypes of media representation. It's just a bummer to see. And I'm being hypercritical, and I'm aware of it.
Yeah. Because it's been a while since I try to catch up on Melancholy. I think because the author, he releases the strip or the pages like every 2 pages, like every 2 weeks. So it takes a while for me to read up or catch up on it. I'm not fully caught up the series, but rereading these chapters, I still really like the character of Honey, because I know it's one of those things where, like, later on down, if my memory serves, she does grow as a character a little bit more. But rereading these first 3 chapters, it's like, oh wow, that is kind of one note, because like you were saying, Sparks, it was like, oh my god, you can't find a man. Like when she was going into the speed dating one, and she's talking to the speed dating lady, and she's like, really, you can't find a man? Are you serious? It's like, wow, this is like the 3rd time they've done that joke already, or am I just misremembering?
It's like I get it. Like she's an extremely attractive like lady, but she has problems finding guys. But like it kind of just focuses on that a lot, and it's like it's very stereotypical, and it's like it's never. I really don't want to be mean, but like it never really feels clever. It's just like
I'll tell you what bothered me about it's the barista. What's his name?
Rudy.
Rudy. Rudy bothered me because I'll analyze a comic book with the best of them, but when I'm reading this, I'm looking at this going like, I really hope he's not an author surrogate, and he's writing this book because like I can't get the babe. But what if I got it? What if the babe was like super cool and nerdy, and she was like,
I didn't even think of that.
No, I I get you.
I didn't think of either, but I do understand what you're talking
I'm
about.
a little concerned about how that could come off because of how idealized Honey is, and how like normal Rudy is.
And then you have like the Pepper, the best friend who's always like, oh, like he's always ragging on her and like, oh, you don't really know her, like I know her, and it's stuff that I've seen in like 90s cheesy sitcoms, like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do want to spotlight just a couple of things. Some of them bad, some of them good. She explicitly states in the prologue that she's in her 30s. None of these characters talk like 30-year-old somethings. They all talk like just into my 20s.
Yeah.
And that makes it very hard to set. Like,
Are you saying I talk different?
yes. You do,
dude. It's funny. The second you turn 30, you sound like a completely different.
No,
voice.
but I mean, like,
What happened?
Like, I'm just thinking, like, as I'm hearing Honey's voice, I'm like, this doesn't at all sound like the kind of thing Megan would say. Megan's 30, in her 30s, and I'm like, she would never say, like, have conversations like this. Not even in the way that she talks about relationships. Like nobody engages in this. Like, it's a webcomic. But it's just like, all of them feel like they need to be aged down, but I feel like the only reason that they're aged up is because the concept of why don't you have a man yet is only more pressuring if she's older.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone talks like they're in their 20-somethings. Everyone behaves about life like they're in their 20-somethings. It's very cavalier and so that setup. I really like the gag about her needing to put the batteries into the Game Boy to play Pokemon. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I got that too.
Anywhere near enough of that in here to that is Honey's personality, and it doesn't come through. Most of the time, Honey comes through as a milquetoast, random, pretty much what Pepper assumes she is.
Yeah.
And rarely do they let her like uniqueness show. And I wish there was more of it. It feels like if that's the point of what I'm supposed to get of her character, that should start showing up way more, at least by chapter 2. And it's not. And I feel like that's a huge detriment to it, even though I think moments like that are super good.
I'll be positive here for a second. There are some moments of real emotional, like when you're in your 30s looking back on your life. Like there's specifically like this where she's like looking back at like in high school and she's talking to her best friend and like, oh, we're going to be together forever. And then like it turns out it's not that way. And I do think there is some of that stuff that I can reach to, but then like the next page it's something completely different. I'm like, oh, well, that idea was cool for the one page.
Speaking to that point, all of her like flashback 12 years ago to 11 years ago, whatever, that all should have just been a whole chapter.
Yeah.
Like let those, that's the whole thing, is like, let those characters mean something. When she busts in to the sorority, looking for the friend a year later, and she's like, Brad broke up with me through postcard. I feel like I'm not even upset with the character for not engaging with her very much about it, because from the perspective that they give it to us, I'm like, well, you haven't heard from her in a year. Why would she?
This crazy lady just runs up to your house. They don't act
like it's something that, it's super bizarre, and I'm not allowed to have connection.
Isn't the next chapter, if I recall, in the announcement page, because I read some of those, so it was going back to high school, right? The next chapter is like a side chapter 1.
I don't know.
School. I'm asking the person who read it.
Yeah. The current chapter right now is, as far as I can tell, is all from back in the day.
Okay.
And that's the
happens
most,
eventually.
Yeah, that's the most current one. That's the most current one right now.
I guess I'll say for like, we read like the equivalent of like what feels like almost like a trade or two. Like it feels like a lot, and I just there wasn't much growth from the character. And I understand this is like maybe long form, and webcomics aren't the same as like a 6-issue trade or whatever. But webcomics are interesting because like if I'm reading this like every single day, like I don't know if I would like this. Just reading like a single page every day, unless it's just like really, really good. Because I just haven't read a webcomic since like the Penny Arcade like 15 years ago, and I'm just wondering if like maybe I just don't like webcomics.
Look, I 100%, like I'm just sitting there when we went through the chapters, and there's the part where it says thank you 5,000 subscribers after a certain point, and I sat there and I went, really?
Yeah,
really? 5,000 over this? I don't get it. I guess I just don't get it. But like, I find the writing casual and shallow. like
Fluffy.
The level below Hallmark movie, and that's really hard for me to get invested in. Ben, I've read your writing, and I think you write better.
Stepan Sejic is on Webtoons right now. Fun fact.
Is it on Webtoons? Hell yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's got a Webtoon.
I think there are good webcomics out there. I just this one didn't speak to me.
It feels like it's written for like. I think you're right, Brandon. I think like a very much like an audience story. Like, wow, like this is the perfect woman, and she's just like us, guys.
Yeah,
I think just kind of piggybacking off that point, I think the hardest thing for me to get into it with is that I'm like, I just don't feel like this dude should be writing this story about this woman. I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets in the head of it at all. Of her, I don't know that we're ever invited into her head. I don't feel like I know her. I read her for the equivalent of 4 chapters, and I don't know her.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to be like too mean. Ben, I genuinely want to know what works for you in this.
What works because I actually will admit, reading the first few chapters of this, it was a little hard, or the first 3 chapters in the prologue was a little hard. Because I think I remember back when we did the first volume of Sailor Moon is like, oh my god, it gets so much better, but that's jumping you at the deep end with you not knowing everything else. Because I
forgot we did that one.
Yeah, because there is a chapter that does dive deep into the relationship between Honey and her mom, and that's a really good one. Because while I was reading, the one thing I did like about the first chapter is when she's on the speed dating, when she's doing the speed date, and essentially she gets called out for finding a guy for like, oh, I want X, Y, and Z, and my man, he's like, he doesn't exist. You gotta lower your expectations.
And that's the writer telling us.
And I wanna say straight up, I really like that moment too. And then I hated that they immediately undercut it by introducing some dude after that, who she's like, I'm going to look past flaws. And they're like, yeah, but his flaws can't be looked past. Sucks to be you. You just ruined the point you made. Mm-hmm. You just ruined it. Like, she could have met a guy who had like a flaw, but a passable one. Yeah.
Yeah, that. You're absolutely right. Because after she talks to, I believe his name was Paul, and then here comes the dude who collects moss. And then he's like, I also collect fun guy. It's like, wow. Okay, that's really lowering the bar. But another thing is like chapter 2, because actually when I was reading chapter 3, I was like, I actually did see, like, wow, this actually is it's problematic in the ways. It's problematic, but going back to chapter 2, because when her and her friends are essentially, you watching her drift apart from her friends, that kind of hit home, because we've all drifted apart from friends in high school.
He won't let me.
Other friends from high school, because I've certainly drifted apart from, not because I wanted to, but just because it happens. I mean, Facebook can only do so much, and then one day you're on there. This actually happened to me recently. A friend of mine, I was like, oh, I want to see how so-and-so is doing. Next thing I know, they've unfriended you on Facebook, and you're like, oh, well, you just stuff like that happens.
In fairness, Facebook will unfriend people that you don't talk to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just do it automatically.
Oh.
I will real quick talk about some things that I really did like. I think it's at the beginning of every chapter, but it's basically she's having a dream, and then she wakes up and she's at work. And those few pages I thought were pretty charming. Like she's like a James Bond type lady, and like there's a bomb gonna go off, and she's just playing like a game on like on a computer
on Minekeeper.
Yeah, Minekeeper. Those are like charming little things. So like, oh, she likes games, but she fantasizes about bigger things. I'm like, I just wanted that all the time. Yeah. And I just felt
because you got a window into her personality.
Yes, I just felt like she was that blonde like bimbo that like she's trying not to be, but the writer was writing her that way a lot.
The saddest thing to me is that the funniest piece I read in all of this, the one that really made me chuckle, was the chapter 3 announcer, which you guys probably didn't read, but I was scanning through, so I stopped on it and read it. And
I read it.
Yes, and it's a goof on other webcomics and how they over dramatize things. And so there's literally a part where this is like Scott Pilgrim humor, where they're playing with the paneling and it's saying, yeah, they'll just like isolate a square and then create all this overwealth of white space. And so you're just scrolling and scrolling one panel. Oh my God, you're so right. Scroll, just white space. I know, right? Scroll. And I'm like, that's really funny. Where is this wit in the rest of it?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, besides the writing,
I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I actually going off the story, I do enjoy the art. I like his art style a little bit. I think he draws cute girls.
It's like a cute cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a cute cartoon.
For indie comic stuff, yeah, I won't knock it.
Yeah,
It's nice.
and yeah. Besides that, Melancholy for me because I dig the story. I do enjoy reading it. To me, it's a nice quick read when it's like, you know what, I just want to read something fun. I just want to forget about life because I'm a bit of a sucker for romance stories. I'll admit it here. I like some of those. I like those stories sometimes. And I heard that, Brandon.
Nothing wrong with that, Ben.
Yeah, and there are times I just like
Ben,
scrolling.
I like Sunstone.
I know, so do I.
About that.
Oh, dude, Sunstone. It's downstairs. I'm so happy I put it back on my shelf. Yeah, I enjoy it. I see this as it's a quick read. I blaze through these chapters, and something nice is like, you know what? I haven't looked at Melancholy. Oh, there's quite a few pages up. I'll give those a read. I got some time.
There's one comment that I really like. Girl, just give up. You don't need a man. You just need some cats. It's time to start your crazy cat lady collection. And I'm like, way ahead of you, girl. I'm over there.
She does have Claude.
I will say.
Oh, Claude. I just got it.
I will say just a general kind of idea note, Ben. Personally, like if you do feel some of the later chapter stuff was stronger, I was thinking about it, and I feel like you could have started us at chapter 2 or chapter 3 going forward, and I wouldn't have been lost at all because they constantly reiterate what her state of being is. She doesn't have man, need man. It's very clearly present. Everybody's status is kind of restated at the beginning of each chapter, and I'm like, yeah, I know where we're at. Just for future reference,
right.
Be aware of things like that, especially if you do another webcomic. Like if you feel like you got to take us a little further down the road, because that's a common thing in webcomics that they get much better because someone just starts something much the same way we started the podcast.
Yeah,
I started it just to do it. And then you get to the point where we're at now, where we do StreamYard, we sound much better, we have logos, we have visuals, we have a video channel.
Yeah,
you don't start there.
Yeah,
and webcomics are much in that same vein. So if you ever feel that again, think about where's a good entry point. It doesn't need to be let's start at the beginning when things were rough.
Yeah, funny enough, now that you mention that, because one of my favorite webcomics that I read everything when I was in high school was a webcomic called Bob and George, which essentially it started off as like a hand-drawn comic, but then it evolved into a Mega Man spoof sprite comic, and then they just went with it.
As very common with webcomics. They are very clearly of the moment I'm learning and improving thing. And so that I will never be upset with you saying, hey, or even if you need to give us like an introductory blurb, if there's no clean entry point, just like if this is the thing you want us to read, jump us into the thing that you think is good about it.
Yeah, because
don't feel like
I don't want to, because there are some really good webcomics. I know they're out there. Like we're doing one for our book for the Fake Nerds Book Club, Little Char and the Gang.
Charmander.
Yeah, and I actually would like to revisit Bob and George with you guys because I think you guys you would. I mean, I'm gonna go double check because it's been years since I last read it, but I think you guys might enjoy it. That webcomic, the author did it every day for like 7 years or something.
Wow,
it's a long ass thing, and he went through all the mainline Mega Man games up to that point, which is Mega Man 8. Oh no, he didn't do Mega Man. He went up to Mega Man 7. That was his last one. But either way, I remember laughing my ass off. It was hilarious. So I know this is definitely not going to be the last webcomic I ever do, but I will definitely keep that in mind where if there's a really good jumping point, you don't have to start at the beginning. Because while I was reading this, it's like because I was remembering the better chapters later down the line. I was like, yeah, that this is him, the author starting out. This is him finding his groove, and then things get better.
Yeah. Melancholy.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll be it. Ryan, it's your book club next.
Hot dog. It sure is, you guys. Hey, we've been talking a lot about Grant Morrison on this podcast. And guys, and I was thinking about trying to make this our fake nerd book club thing, but I have to land on a wheel and like it might get picked. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to pick this. I'm picking my favorite Batman book of all time. It's called Batman and Robin. Batman Reborn. It's Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. It's Dick Grayson as Batman. Damian as Damian. Guys, this book is sensational.
That's the first volume of that run, right?
Yes, first volume, first 6 issues. I got the beautiful, big deluxe edition because this book is so good. Dick's the best Batman. Fight me, everyone.
No.
It. Okay.
All right. So that'll be it. So stay tuned for that one. Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Next week we've talked about it. It's possible we'll do a review of New Mutants because New Mutants comes out on New Mutants comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital this coming week. So if we have enough to say about it, we may do that. But if not, stay tuned for something else.
Yep.
As we said up top, Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge, that is going up on Tuesday, guys. You're in for a treat.
In another week, you can catch us on Fake Nerds Watch once again, talking about episodes 3 and 4 of this season of The Mandalorian.
Brandon, have you watched the 3rd episode yet?
Not yet, but I know the spoiler.
I watched the 3rd episode.
I don't know the spoiler, but someone told me, yo, this is just a live-action Clone Wars episode, and I'm freaking out to watch it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Shit, we might be doing that tomorrow.
Here's the thing. I saw the spoiler, and I was like...
I don't know nothing about nothing. I just know people are freaking out.
I'm not gonna say anything because I watched it, and I
will.
And let's just say that I will be listening to the wind to hear Ryan's screams of joy.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. All right, cool shit. Where am I? Okay, yes, we talked about the Fake Nerds Watch series. That's on here, on YouTube. If you're watching the live stream or you're watching the replay. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Check out our other videos on this channel, such as our Fake Nerds Watch series, which we're currently doing The Mandalorian. We got a bunch of other cool shows up there for Lovecraft Country, Watchmen, Game of Thrones, Season 8 of Swamp Thing. Yeah, cool. All right, so check those out.
Season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Season 1 of Mandalorian. Season 1 of The Boys. Season 2 of The Boys. Season 2 of Umbrella Academy. Sit here all day.
3 of Stranger Things.
2 episodes of Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
4?
Because we did 2 episodes talking about 4 episodes.
I had to go puke, so I went upstairs for that.
All right.
Remember
Guys,
that now.
My roommate's cat is here. I'm trying to get her to come over here.
We also have Basement Arcade. Anything coming up for Basement Arcade?
Ryan and I, we did all the Halloween stuff. Ryan and I are planning over these next couple weeks. You're going to see at least 2 Fortnite videos come up from us. One where we're just exploring the Marvel event, and one where we're battling Galactus.
Cool.
And once I get everything settled into my new place, maybe some more. I can finally make my return to Basement Arcade.
Yes, Ben, we can do it.
Oh, I miss you guys.
We're definitely discussing a Phasmophobia experience at some point for Basement Arcade.
I want to get spooked so bad, you guys.
But you know what we're not discussing? We're not discussing doing these things in person, and I hate it.
It's true. I hate it too.
Not yet.
Fake Nerd Book Club is our freshman series. We just finished up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's up now. Ben, say it again. What's coming up?
It is Little Char and a Gang. It's another webtoon.
Yeah, so on the episode, real quick correction, if you have seen the episode or if you're still listening to this podcast this far out, on the podcast, on that episode, we say it's Immortal Hulk, and it's not. It is Little Char and the Gang.
Little Charmander.
So we had a chit-chat after the episode.
Yes, we did.
We talked about how much I hate that we're not talking about doing this in person. Guys, wear your masks. Please, for the love of God, wear your masks. Buy podcast masks. Support your favorite podcast. Yeah, this time we're your favorite podcast. We went up. You can check out the links in the description below for Fake Nerd Podcast masks. We still got them. Could be the difference between me seeing my friends again and me not seeing my friends again. We also have a Patreon. You can check out our Patreon. I still haven't taken the second tier down there, but nobody do it because I'm taking it down. We have a $5 tier. Cool stuff on that one. You may get the Mike Matola's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge episode early on that, at least the audio. Or I may forget. So I apologize. Joey's on, who's our only patron.
I love you, Joey.
We also have a TeePublic, a lot of cool shirts on TeePublic. Masks are on TeePublic also. They sell those. Throw pillows. I don't care. Buy something with our logo on it. Miscellaneous, Fake Nerd Book Club, Fake Nerd Podcast, Bread and Butter. We got a cool little 8-bit thing. Pie's designing a new shirt for us for Christmas.
Oh my gatos.
So stay tuned for that.
I'm scared.
You should be. Actually, you should be. If I just remember what's on it.
You should be. Well, remember the top of the episode when I mentioned this shirt right here?
Well, so I'll just say what it is. We're talking about doing. I'm not gonna say what you should be afraid of. Well, we talked about Pi and I, and this is all tentative. It could happen. It could not happen. But we talked about doing it a Christmas sweater print on a T-shirt with a lot of like in jokes from the show and something like that. So if that happens, stay tuned. Well, we've talked about it, so you should be scared. You should be. All right, you can find all those links in the description below, or you can check out our website at www.fakenerdpodcast.com. It's in the ticker down below right here. Look at that. Look at that. It's our website. We say shit on there sometimes. I am currently working on a couple of articles, so hopefully it's going to update that soon on my end. But you can check out all the links that I've mentioned on that website. Your one-stop shopping place for your favorite podcast. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who's been watching this. Thank you to everyone who watched the replay. We greatly appreciate all your support over this trying time. Over these last 30 years, you guys have really kept me going. Thank you to Jerry.
The 30 years of 2020.
It feels like it. Are you kidding? I was actually this close to doing a joke. It's like it is the 100 or 200th X day of March.
Yeah. Thank you to Jerry Vellucci for doing our music and stuff like that. If you're watching this or listening to this, you're hearing his music. Hopefully more stuff coming soon. He may make it a New Year's type of thing. We'll see. He also does a podcast called Suburban Proctologist Official. You can find that on iTunes or facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at SugPodcast. I'm doing my best Sam Waterston impression. I don't know why. You can check out his Instagram at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards. Mike Patola. We talk about Mike a lot this episode, guys. Mike's awesome. Mike's a cool dude. Mike's got a chicken coop.
It's true.
All of these things are true facts.
Because he wanted chickens.
That's the reason. That's it. A lot of chickens.
We gave him, my girlfriend and I gave hhim a stamp that says butt nugget.
That's great.
for his chicken eggs. You can find him at Mike Patola on Instagram and Twitter, or on Tuesday on the Fake Nerd Podcast for Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at BenMega27, and also I still write for OldSchoolGamerMagazine.com. I haven't written anything because
you're moving.
Exactly. The same damn excuse I've been using for the past 3 weeks. I'm moving. But I should be writing stuff soon. I just got a brand new laptop. I cannot wait to test that baby out. And I also can't wait to make this so it's not a blank void of a wall behind me.
Sparks.
You can find me just dancing the night away at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
Ryan.
Hey guys, I'm DJ Tony Snark everywhere. DJ Tony Snark 616 on Twitch. Watch me play video games.
Mag says, stay safe, guys. Late.
I was like minutes ago.
Thanks, yes. Mag. Appreciate you.
See you, Mag.
Hey, man. I can only look at 2 screens at a time.
Let's get 2 different eyes. That's fine.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts. Rate and review wherever you get us. Like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Until next week, guys. Until next week, guys. Happy birthday to Ben and me. And
yay!
Sparks.
Your face is a wreck. You're a blight on the nose. Your face brings to mind the arse and the horse.